Welcome.
Hey, hello everybody. Thank you all very much for joining us today. Back on Rolling With It. We're very glad to have you all here. We're all very excited.
Heck yeah.
I am Ella, will be your dungeon master for the evening's entertainment. Crazy Ferret. Who else is here? Introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Britty. I'm still the token American. That's basically it. We're not on fire anymore, at least mostly.
We actually confirmed earlier. It's only a little bit on fire. I'm Matt, by the way.
Me, Riley. I'm back again with the Lordship and Yareth, and I'm here.
Lordship.
Me, Riley. Woo! Yareth's always been a lord.
He's always said he's a lord.
I don't know why everyone is so suspicious about Yareth. He's a good boy.
Yeah, why would we be suspicious of him?
Someone else?
It's because of the redundancy. We don't need two wizards.
I'm Nat. I'm here. Go.
Who are you playing?
Althaea. Everyone knows
Battlemap.
Althaea. I win polls, baby.
What about all the new viewers, though, now?
Oh, they already know who Althaea is. If they're worth anything.
Ah.
I've gone back and watched both previous streams. Or 5 hours, 7 hours, how many hours it is.
Well, we have received a lot of views by what we've seen.
I think those are just live views. So. Anyway, is everybody? Sorry, I'm only half paying attention while I'm trying to do text stuff.
Lumi, Lumi is alive. We have evidence that she is alive, but currently not active.
Dealing with technical issues, that's what we'll call it. Technical.
We haven't seen a current dated newspaper, but we're taking it on faith.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple of things I would like to say, while she gets ready. First of all, map hype. Can we get a map hype?
Map hype.
As soon as it jumps in quality, there we go.
Map hype.
Yeah.
Map hype.
I was going to say,
So
I think
this is the map. This is version 1 of the map. I've already noticed several things wrong with it. I want to change, but that'll have to wait. So I'll give you the quick tour of all the interesting features, as both for players and for viewers. Up in our top-hand corner, we have the episode, and we have the date. Tis the 2nd of Viron. And if you're interested in the calendar, it is in your Misk Law tab in the handouts folder, so you should be able to access it. You should all be able to see it anyway. There, I should just show you all. So yes, today it's the 2nd of Viron, in Gaecia at least, so it's the very beginning of autumn. So summer's kind of died, last through hot spots. Leaves are starting to fall very soon. Just to kind of get you all up to speed. Our players themselves are actually in Akaran, and because I don't have anything better at the moment, they will be represented by this black splodge.
Black splodge.
Yes.
Sam, is it possible that we could get this map posted to Twitter later?
Yes, that is the plan.
Awesome.
Obviously, as you zoom in, you'll notice there ain't a lot of detail as far as, hey, where's these villages and towns that we heard about last time? I will be working on a Akaran regional map, or hopefully next time where you'll be able to see towns and villages and stuff. It's just if I was to put every town and village on the world map, it would be a bit crowded. So hopefully that'll be coming soon, and then as you explore the different places, you'll get different regional maps for them. So hopefully that'll all be fun and dandy. What else was I going to say? I was going to say other things. Caught myself off me track now. Yes, map. Love map. Map. Good. Okay. So, last time on Tails, no, Gaecia. There we go. Say the right name, Sam. We were introduced to our, let's call them characters. They're not a party yet. They are
A lovable
a
cast.
group of misfits to start off with.
Lovable?
Um,
Are you sure? Yareth's
they're
there.
all very adventurous.
But the question is Yareth sufficiently outbalanced by Althaea?
Well, yeah. So obviously, we started in the Hairy Porker, which is the tavern in Outfarm, which is a small kind of village in the very southern part of Akaran. It's kind of mainly for rearing pigs and cows and stuff. There's a few sheep as well. Kind of into this tavern, there burst this strange human-looking figure that, upon entering, kind of you could take in their ragged appearance. They look like they'd been through the works. But somehow beyond that, they seem to have attracted the attention of everyone else in the bar. They seem to just, zoom, that's an interesting person. Some further investigation through various other members in this bar uncovered this disheveled figure was Althaea. And it's perhaps one of the reasons why all the people in this tavern were paying extra respect is perhaps she might be an Aesmar, which is kind of touched of Aesme, who is the god here in Akaran. Unraveled that the little caravan in which she'd been transporting hides to be tanned at the nearby tannery had been attacked by bandits, and she was lucky to escape with her life. And so she was quite keen to get her goods back, and so this ragtag group of people came together and volunteered to help out their fellow man. And so, after a night of drinking, for most of them, they set off to the place where this encounter happened. After some kind of good tracking by the half-orc, Urashi, kind of tracked kind of where the bandits would have gone. Oh dear. From the main road, and you kind of to their camp essentially. Along the way, you found the abandoned bodies of what you assumed to be Althea's companions on that caravan. But eventually, you made your way, and it was this little cave, kind of nestled into some kind of natural cave, in this little hill. Outside, you could see all of Althea's carts, hides, and horses. There was also a gentleman. He's kind of very oily, slicked back, black hair, general good for nothing type. You kind of approached him and were able to convince him to bring out his leader to have a polite chat, to perhaps request Althea's goods back. This sort of went well. This leader turned out to be an orc, and recognizing a kindred spirit in Urashi, he looked at them as the deal of hearth, where the two of them could sit around and discuss in relatively polite conditions without kind of during the negotiations. They came to a fairly orky solution, where the two of them were to have a battle to death to decide whether or not Althea should be able to get her goods back. This was seeming to be going well, when somehow, some way, a magical spell had been cast from nobody in the party, of course. None of them would ever interfere in a duel. Yet magic was somehow cast, and one of in fact, the oily man with the slicked black hair, he was put to sleep through magical means. Not taking particularly kindly to this, the orcish bandit leader kind of declared the duel forfeited, and that told his men to kill all the interlopers. This was an interesting fight that looked like it could have gone both ways at a couple points, but eventually Urashi was able to knock out the orcish bandit leader.
Oh, jeez.
And with most of the bandits dispatched, you were kind of able to chase them off. The last few remnants, there was about 4 of them that escaped, including the orc leader. And they kind of ran away, leaving the party to their own devices. As we kind of end, we will return to where we were. So obviously these carts had the hides in. Althaea is unconscious on the floor. There had been spots of conversation between party members. However, most of you can probably see, and Phoenix, you would remember doing this, that the rope tying the horses to a tree is slightly burning through, and the horses will be running away post-haste if you don't do something about it.
I mean, I think it's current haste, not post-haste. That's what I'll say
Whatever.
about that.
Close enough.
Oh, she lives.
Yeah, so after shouting at Phoenix to go
Ugh.
deal with the horses,
Who cast in large on Arashi?
Arashi's huge. Yeah, after
Oh, she's huge.
after yelling at Phoenix to go take care of the horses, which probably wasn't the best idea, but I needed him out of the way, I'm going to see if I can help Althaea get back to her feet, if at all.
Sure. Medicine check.
Can I assist with that in any way?
Sure, you can help.
I will take that advantage. Thank you. Apparently I needed it.
Okay, yeah. So Yareth had already, made sure that she wasn't bleeding out. Going to this check, you were fairly confident that, she wasn't going to die. As you kind of inspect her, there's, a hearty wound in the shoulder. She seems unconscious for now. You don't think she's any sort of coma. You reckon she'll be coming round in the next hour or 2, maybe 3. You could try and wake her up early, but it might not be the best idea ever.
Look, let's just let her rest. She's been through a lot. We can go through the hides and see what's there. Get an inventory going for her. Then when she wakes up, we can check what's around and then search the cave with her if needs be.
Yeah, I think...
All right, I could just carry her, and we can carry on.
Well, yes, but what if there are more people in there? I don't want us going...
Well, we'll kill him.
Okay, but I'm not feeling great. You look a bit
I'm
beaten up,
fine.
if you don't mind me saying.
If I'm being frank, you look banged to shit. You need the rest too.
Excellent. I'm fine. I can take
Okay,
one
good
of
for
that.
you. Like I said earlier, I have never been in a fight before.
Well, you have now.
Yes, I got shot at multiple times. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Nah,
Pardon?
I've forgotten how to say your character's name. Is it Althaea? Althea? Althea?
Althaea, I think.
Althea. Okay, can I just
Althea.
pick her up?
Sure.
Can you not
she's
just
not
let her
unhealthy now.
rest?
Oh,
Please.
she's resting while she's moving.
She weighs 127 pounds.
I don't know how strong I have to be to carry that.
That's about 60 kilos, or possibly a bit less in sensible units.
She's about 9 stone.
Probably your Rashi lifts. We'll be fine.
Yeah, you can easily fireman's lift her over your shoulder. There's no.
That'll do. Yep.
Sure. Okay.
Look, do
You
you
now
not think
have
resting for
Althaea
until
on
she
your
wakes
shoulder.
up would not be a good idea for the rest of us anyway?
I'm not going to leave her in a bush until she wakes up. We'll go somewhere else.
Okay, sure. Let's sit in the cave for a bit then.
Seems good to me. And yeah, I guess I start going to the cave.
Okay. So I think we can assume Phoenix is able to put out his own fire and make sure the horses aren't going to break free soon.
Yeah, I'm not dealing with the horses directly. I'm just walking over and casting mending on the ropes.
Sure, you can do that. They're take a minute or so, but yeah, you can do this while they inspect out there, and then you kind of see her actually stand up and just sling her over her shoulder like a sack of spuds.
Oops.
Yeah, they seem to be headed into the cave. I assume you'll try and follow them.
After a long sigh, yeah.
Cool. Okay. So
Sorry, the yawn was out of character. No offense to any of you lovely people.
So you make your way into the cave.
Matt, I'm getting a bit of feedback from the music from you.
Yeah, I was just turning that down.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not particularly appropriate. I'm trying to.
Oh, I forgot we had music. I've turned it so far down. I forgot it was there.
How dare you?
Yeah. Okay. So you kind of make your way back into the cave. Where we're going, there's a decent more to explore. So you were kind of up here when
Yeah.
you had your meeting with the orc. You also noticed kind of the bandits were sent away down this little corridor to others down there.
I would assume, having been within this kind of cave setup before, is there anywhere in particular that I would know is of interest? Like, do I know, oh, there's always a room at the back that has such and such, or do I find any passages that look familiar or anything, I guess?
I mean, the bandits went back that way.
Yeah, so like
Probably
on the way
most
down there, I
interesting
just want to keep. I want to keep an eye out for anything I might recognise. Is what I'm trying to say.
Again, can we just
Information, so
can we just sit and rest where the half orc was where the orc was before, and just
Well, we want to go
let
further
this-
in so nothing comes in while we're resting, innit?
Okay,
I think
fine.
right now all we need is a spot to sit down, take a breather, make sure we don't open up any
There-
wounds that have closed up.
There's 4 of us still conscious. We can, if we set up in the center, we can sit around Althaea in a diamond formation, and we can have eyes on everywhere and have a bit of a sit down and wait.
DM, when the bandits ran off, did they stop to grab anything, or was it just a case of they left?
No, they're just booking it into the trees.
Okay.
There's only 2 of them conscious, so.
Yeah, we beat him up real good.
They
Not
were
long
carrying
enough.
something. They were carrying their unconscious companions that lived. So that was what they sought to carry. They probably couldn't stop carrying much else.
I think we should be just fine here. Just an hour or so, and then we can get back to town with all the goods in tow.
That's fine, but I think we should go further in before we rest, so nothing can come in and eat us.
If only just to check, yes.
And if there is something, what? We deal with it when
I'll
we're not
punch
all
it.
at best. You look like you're about to not. Oh, fine.
She actually looks like she's half dead. She also looks delighted about this fact.
I am very aware of this fact. It's why I want us to have a short rest for. God damn it.
On a scale
God's-
of
God's
1 to
be damned.
16, it actually looks about a 3.
Yes, I am aware. It's why I want
It's
us to have a
fine.
short rest.
I
God
can
damn
die
it.
once and come back. I'm a half orc.
And what if you die
No,
again?
It's fine, Yurek. I think we should rest too. I just don't think we should rest right in the entrance. I think we should go further in before we rest.
That's what I said. Rest
Yeah.
where the orc was, and then we can watch all the exits and whatnot.
Well, there we are then.
Y'all are agreeing, but you're saying 2 different things. It's very confusing.
Whoa.
So you will make your way to where the orc was kind of sitting. There's kind of a few logs and stuff.
There's still some food left because we
Yes,
can eat
there's still
food.
remnants
Yeah.
of food they've been sharing with you, and the ale as well. It's about lunchtime now. It was about a 3-hour walk from Alderfarm to the spot of the attack, and then it was kind of 45 minutes off the road. So it's very much noon 1-ish. So you're all probably quite peckish, especially after that scrap. So you can all quite easily have a bite to eat, possibly from your own rations, all that jazz. rest up and have a short rest. And the hour will pass, and kind of towards the very end of it, Althea will start to stir because I rolled a 1 on the 1d4 to see how long she stays asleep.
Yay!
Nice. Nice.
Oh, good. You're finally getting up.
Good to have you back in the land of the living, chap.
Do you want me to roll for a thingy? Hit die and all that?
No, because you technically take the short rest because you were unconscious during it, so you were
Cool.
just on
One hit point. Nice.
Yes. But everyone else can roll hit dice and do any other
Yes,
trick
Irashi.
to do.
You get your 1 hit dice.
Almost on full.
But yes. Is there any talk we would like to have during this short rest?
Eaten.
We never really got down to whatever caused that bandit to fall asleep in the middle of the duel.
Yes.
Phoenix, the thing with the fire on the horses, I like the idea, but wrong time. We need... You get what I mean?
I'm sorry, but can we discuss what the hell happened during the strap? Before the strap, the preamble to the strap, the one-on-one strap, when that poor man just fell asleep in the middle of broad daylight.
That was all.
I'm sorry, we're calling them poor man now?
Look, I'm tired.
Good for you.
You can
I
call
just
them
watched
murderers.
murderers run away.
You can call them murderers if you want. At the end of the day, we also killed some of them.
There's a difference between killing and murder, friend.
You killed
Is there?
No, there's not.
Yes.
We killed
There is.
people.
I'm sorry.
They killed
You
people.
killed people. I put people to sleep.
So you did do it.
Of course I did it. Who else would have done it?
Why?
So you disturbed that duel that they were having, the one that he said was honorable and no one would die, and so on and so on.
Yeah,
And you
there
disturbed
was
it and caused that massive
murdering
fight.
bandit leader.
We killed people.
Yeah, the one that the murdering bandit leader said was honorable, and his men just
And
wouldn't
I
jump
would
us
have been
afterward.
able to kill him. And it was honourable.
Look, if you're gonna do something like that, fine. But run it by some people first.
Yeah, because we really had time while this one was throwing her life away in a fight against a murderer.
I won,
She was
first
winning.
of all. Second of all, I told you that it was honourable, and I knew the risk I was taking. It is not my problem if you
Risk
disagree
you
with
were
that
taking.
assessment.
Risk you were taking.
Yes.
You didn't ask us. We're also
Pretty sure I
We
did.
had enough time to talk about it. We talked about it in here before the fight.
Yeah, when many of us voiced our concerns against it, and were ignored.
And yet, it was the quickest and the least bloody way to resolve a disagreement.
Disagreement.
There would have been less death.
I'm sorry, are you an expert in all cultures? Or just orcs?
Really?
This isn't about culture. We're not
Isn't it?
being or clans.
Doesn't
They're
matter.
murderers and they're bandits. I thought we were here to apprehend them, not let them run off and do it again.
No, we were here to get Althea's stuff back, and I would argue that they're going to think about it really hard before they try again.
If they know
Sure.
people like us are gonna come after them, there's a good chance they're not doing something like that again.
We'll see.
Hell, maybe they'll take my advice of getting a job to heart, although, however unlikely that may be. But again, Phoenix, your movement was not wrong, but what it did was not just... You put everyone's lives in danger without asking us. So you did the exact same thing you are angry at Irashi for doing.
I was trying to make the best of a bad situation.
And
You only have so
Why
It
much.
wasn't a
interf-
bad situation. You made it a bad situation.
I'm not arguing semantics with you about what caused this. That duel was a dumb idea.
would you have
In
rather
your
us,
opinion.
would you have
Yeah,
rather us
in
all
my
started the
opinion.
fight from the beginning? Because the same thing happened. And look what happened.
At least this way I got to take one of them out without them.
And that is why I have a problem with it.
It was.
I had to kill a
selfish.
bystander. You killed a bystander. Those are not people that
Sorry,
agreed
I
to the
didn't kill jack
terms
shit.
of our combat.
That trigger-happy bastard over there fucking lanced one of their heads off. I didn't kill a damn thing.
Yeah, I did notice that, Gareth. We're going to talk about that later, but right now, this is on you, Phoenix. Because what you did was selfish. And I hope you understand that. You decided, based on your own judgment, that what you were going to do was right, damned be the consequences, and Fleet just points both hands to Althaea. And look what happened. It was reckless
Is any
and dangerous.
consolation? I'm
How
not
are you,
dead.
No, but you damn well could have been. It was dangerous.
We all could have been.
Second time like this in as many days.
And look, 2 for 2. You're doing fine.
That's not the point. The point is, it didn't have to happen like that. If we had gone with what our group had decided, whatever type of group we may be.
I did not want to engage in combat with anyone who had not agreed to the terms of it, and that is precisely what I ended up having to do.
Yeah.
That is what I object to.
When that
We were
big orc struck you
settling
down,
a
we
disagreement.
lose our best fighter, and then they all jump us. How much better
He
will
did
that go?
not strike me down, and they would not have jumped you.
If he wanted to jump us, he would have done it when we first got here. Instead, we sat down, we had quite a nice meal, which is still rather nice when all's said and done. And he would have done it then in a cave where he knows it and we don't, and had the advantage. Instead, we went out there, we were watching what I thought was actually quite an honourable fight, and you were doing very well, you actually. It was,
Thank you.
For what I know of fighting, it was pretty damn good sport. But then someone intervened, and we had to fight them all when they weren't going to. They didn't even have their weapons drawn. If they were planning on ambushing us, they would have had weapons drawn and everything, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the point.
Precise-
DM.
Yes.
Did the bandits have their weapons on them
When?
during the duel?
I mean, they had them on them, but no.
But so did we.
Yeah,
They weren't drawn, is my point.
yeah, they weren't drawn. They just on their persons, as is probably a sensible precaution considering what indeed transpired, where you interfered and then they had to, interfere back.
Look, at the end of the day, it's happened. It's a bit shit what happened, and I hope it doesn't happen again. But if,
I can't guarantee that. If I think it's the best thing, I'm going to do it.
well, can you at least look?
If the terms are already set, could perhaps you maybe not.
I think we
Yes.
can.
In
When I
a
don't trust-
dynamic situation,
when I don't trust
the
who
skills
gives
that
the
you
terms.
have are clearly useful, but
In
this
that
is a
case,
time-honoured tradition from
Okay,
You can't
hang
trust-
on.
and I told you as such.
You can't trust
and
the
you
guy who
have
gave the terms. They mean
disrespected it.
jack shit.
No,
we all
he-
trusted him, apart from you.
He
And
broke a
that's-
deal of hearth.
That's the
He gave a
issue.
deal of hearth.
I believe we are both
He let
ignoring
me
something.
choose the fighting ground.
Phoenix,
Yes.
we did disregard your concerns, and I apologize for that. But, and that's something that we can work on in the future. But you also disregarded the terms that they set, which was disrespectful of you, and I hope that's something you can work on in the future. Right now, what's done is done. As much as we may not have liked exactly
And
how
if
it turned
we
out,
decide to continue whatever is,
I think we can all take steps to listening to everyone here, and when we all make a decision, to follow through with it. Can I trust y'all to do that?
I mean, that you're making several assumptions that we're going to carry on together after this.
I mean,
I would
y'all are,
rather not travel with those that would force me to break my own honour.
y'all are family to me.
Okay, can we talk about that?
What?
What's with the whole family thing? We met not 24 hours ago, friend.
Everyone's
Friend
family.
is fine.
Everyone's family.
What do you mean everyone's family?
Well, we're all on the continent. We all have our reasons for being here, and we all were here from one point. We're all family, just more distant than others.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so yes, hypothetically, if from this day forward we all go together, let's try and talk more then.
Let's listen to everybody's ideas and listen to
If
their
it needs to be
concerns.
sidebars, great. Just little group sidebar after a discussion's been had with some other group. That's pretty top sport. Anyway, Althaea, how are you doing, friend?
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I'm not dead. What?
That you're not.
What happened after?
Someone conked you really hard on the head or something. Then we fought them, and now you're fine. Well, fine, but not dead.
The rest of them
which is
ran away.
a variation of fine.
We dodged you back up.
Nice.
I'll crouch down and pass over some of the pork rations I had over to Althaea.
Thank you.
We're going to explore the rest of this cave once you're in top condition. See if there's any more of your stuff, if there's anyone else's stuff, and then go back to town, I think.
For what it's worth, I don't regret what I did. But I'm sorry that you got hurt because of it, Althaea.
It's fine. It's fine. I like I said, I'm still here. You're still here. There weren't too many casualties on their side, right?
Quite a few, actually. Yes. Although I didn't kill the big guy, which I should have done.
Actually, 2 of them died.
No, like 4, maybe 5, if I'm getting my maths right, died. Only
One
4 of them
was
got
asleep,
8 or 9.
2 ran away, boss didn't die, so...
I cleaved a guy in
4 of them
half.
ran away, there was 8 or 9 of them. So 4 or 5 died.
She'll take sort of a moment. Okay.
Althea, I wanted to ask. You did something to my left hand during that, after I banged it into that shield. What was that?
Just a little a little blessing, as it were. Normally it helps people sort of power through their fears, but I figured it might be useful in combat. You didn't seem afraid, but
is it like your eye shiny thing?
Not. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Lets me help people.
I'll pat you on the shoulder and stand up and just say, if it makes you feel any better, it was probably quicker than the noose.
No, that doesn't. Okay.
Is everything about death and murderers with you? I feel that's every conversation you start.
You see Althaea sort of take an actual moment with like her fist over her mouth, like, cool.
I feel like it's a pretty pertinent subject when, you're dealing with bandits and murderers.
Okay.
And we still have bodies to go bury.
Can we have a timeout on the M word? Like, it makes me very uncomfortable that you keep saying it, because it makes me think that we are as well.
It's an uncomfortable subject.
As it should be.
It's uncomfortable that you let them go.
We only let them go.
All right, we've already
honorably kill a man.
We've already
of our engagement were broken.
We've already had this discussion. It's not going to go any further.
He will see it as dishonor, and that is on me.
Yeah, but dishonor doesn't mean crap.
Yes, it does.
We've already had this discussion.
Apprehension and proper justice for crimes. That's what we wanted. That's what
that's not what we... Yes, it's what you wanted, but it's not what we agreed. We agreed to get her stuff back, no matter what it cost. Not no matter what it cost, but we agreed to get her stuff back. That was the be-all and end-all of it. It didn't have to involve murder of anyone, and we killed people. We killed people.
Sorry, you, but...
Do you know what?
No, actually, hang on a minute, Phoenix. You're getting all high and mighty that you didn't kill anyone, and yet it was your engagement in this fight.
I'm not high and mighty about it. If I had
so
to,
don't pretend you weren't responsible for what happened.
I'm not getting high.
At least as much as any of the rest of us.
Do you know what sounds nice? Having this discussion over a nice cold drink back at the tavern when we're home. We're not getting anywhere with the discussion now. Let's continue it later after a good night's rest.
I'm always down for a drink. Oops.
Let's just check out the rest of the cave, make sure there's nothing missing from Althea's goods, and get ourselves the hells out of here.
Okay. So as you head further into the cave, out here and probably everybody else, you'll kind of eventually come around to this little nook up here. And kind of in this general area, are you able to make out what appears to be a living space? Essentially, there's kind of little rolled out. What's the word I'm looking for? Roll beds, sleeping mats, whatever they are.
Bedrolls.
Bedrolls, that's it. And little bags of stuff appear to be 8, which approximately numbers the number of people there were. There's also a little extra nook here. It seems to be kind of separated. Again, there's another bedroll, and the pack seems bigger and as you kind of root through it, kind of based on the stuff that's there, especially Arashi would twig. Oh, this is probably the orc's bed. As you kind of see, oh yes, there's a big fancy axe,
And there's a big fancy arcs.
all that kind of thing. So you go, this is where the lead slept, and this is where everybody else slept.
But it's just sleeping quarters. There's no other possessions or anything.
Well, there's all this stuff.
Okay.
I'll have a go quick look through the separated alcove.
Sure. Investigation, please. Okay. Yeah. As you kind of go through his stuff, as I say, the whetstone that you use for sharpening weapons, I can't remember.
Yes.
Yes, there's a few tokens, all that kind of thing. None of it seems particularly interesting until you kind of come across this kind of scrumpled up note that I am showing to you all now. Hopefully you're able to see it. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I will read it aloud the stream though, just because. Following on our previous conversation, I have information about when they will be coming. The Fenicama will be transported past your location between the 1st of Viron and the 4th. They'll be using 2 to 5 cars with minimal crew, dressed as ordinary travelers to avoid suspicion. Naturally, you cannot be sure exactly which Callan will carry out targets, so make sure you search everyone. Anything else you find you can keep. Due to the possibility of traffic and divergent routes, you will not be the only group on the lookout for my prize. If you do not claim it, return to me.
Does the name Fenicama mean anything to me?
Roll just straight intelligence. Absolutely nothing.
Stand back up after scanning it and just say, well, I think I know why they weren't so interested in the hides.
What's that?
They were looking for someone. Fenicama mean anything to any of you?
Anacama.
Does it mean anything to any of us?
I mean, you could all roll your intelligences if you would like to.
Oh dear. What?
Sure. Yeah, I got nothing.
I mean, it doesn't mean much to any of you. The only exception would be Fleet. In Tabaxi, Karma means mother. Beyond that,
Fenimother? That don't make a lick of sense.
Fenny, mother,
Fenner is
what,
completely
water?
not Tabaxi.
Just what?
What?
Not tabaxi?
The Fenny bit seems just completely non-Tabaxi to you.
Which day did Althaea travel on? And
It would have been yesterday, which would have been the 1st of Viron, because today is the 2nd.
right, okay. And does the description that they've given of those carts seem to match Althea's
I mean, they're
travelling party?
carts, which is between 2 and 5. They were just ordinary people, so they're dressed as ordinary travellers. So, yeah,
Fenacoma.
Althea.
provided this is the location.
I think you got hit because you look like their target. I think this was an accident. Or a malicious one, at least.
Or perhaps that you were the target. I don't see all that many Asimar these days, do we?
Does
think if the
Fanny
target
mean
was
anything
called
to
the
any of you?
Fenacama, I think if Althaea was the Fenacama, she'd at least know what one of those was.
Not if she was unwittingly transporting it, or if another member of her crew was.
Well, Kama is just Mama. I don't know what Fanny means, though.
I was just transporting hides. I don't think. I mean,
And yourself.
I mean, I guess I'm somewhat special, but not like.
You're not a mother, are you? Do you have kids?
She looks genuinely like affronted and frightened by this. Like, no, what? No,
Well,
no.
Kama means mother in Tabaxi, so I was just thinking. I don't know
Well,
what
then
Fanny is, though.
Then it can't be me, right?
Which means
Not a mother.
2 more days this Fenacama is traveling and there are other people looking for him. We should
I say we
probably
stake it out.
Why?
Stake out
So
what?
we
We
can-
don't even know the route they're taking.
Aren't you
We need
curious?
to go back and warn
Well,
some.
let's say these particular bandits hit a truck of hides that they had no interest in. Presumably, they must have thought that that was their target, otherwise they wouldn't have bothered. If we are saying that they were not the correct target, then it seems to make sense that they had reason to believe that their targets would be following the same route. So we go back to where Althea's party was hit, and we wait.
So what? We're just going to accost every caravan that goes by for the next 2 days?
Yeah, pretty much, if it matches that description.
They're clearly operating under some kind of secrecy. They're not just going to tell us who this Fenacama is.
Yes, and if I may, like the job that I at least agreed to was to get back this young lady's belongings. If we start holding up every cart that passes by for the next 2 days, we'll be no better than the.
I mean,
bandits
we
that did it to
will,
her.
because we aren't going to steal anything from you.
Althea, you are also already aware that you are 1 day late for your delivery.
Do we not want to warn people coming through that they might be targets?
I think
I think the best thing is we get the proper authorities on this. They'll know the route. They can make sure it's guarded. Or
The proper authorities couldn't spare anyone to come out here this time.
Well,
I
they,
doubt
Right,
they'll
but
spare
they
anyone to
have-
come out again.
they didn't know something was happening this time. Maybe with enough knowledge, they have a chance.
I mean, if they're taking this route, they're traveling through the village. The mayor
Yeah.
might at least have been warned they're coming through. They might be able to get a message to the proper people. Or at least, if you really want to go through with this, it might be tell us who this person is, and we can actually know who we are instead of just accosting every random cart that goes by.
As much as this rather righteous course of action appeals to me, I do actually have, actual business to attend to. I can't just drop it and become a vigilante almost. I do need to help people, and part of that is doing my job. I have to make this delivery. I'm already late. I'm probably going to take a substantial hit on the scale.
I think you'll be forgiven for lateness, given what's happened.
Well,
Where is your delivery to? Alda Farm?
It wasn't it right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tannery in Alderfarm.
What
Yeah.
happened when you finished your delivery?
You were to pick up another one also in Alderfarm, and then head back out to Casimir.
Well,
Do what any merchant does.
the way I
collect-
see it, Althea
Mhm.
lost 4 guards under regrettable
Oh,
circumstances, and the route she'll be taking back will at least pass us on the same road as this Fenacama. If we pass other carts, we can have a harmless look. We don't have to get much more involved than that. If we do find him, we pass along a warning. But I'm in a mind to just keep going, so...
what we're doing right now is helping Althea, and as long as we continue to do that, we're on the right path. We can give as much of a warning as we can manage, but that's about all we can do.
Right.
Well, we're already losing
I suppose-
daylight.
I hope you don't mind if I take one of the horses. I'm not feeling particularly sturdy.
Of course.
Do whatever you need to.
Of course.
Anyone have a look in here yet?
No, not yet.
In where, sorry?
The
No,
big
no,
big
no,
room.
gone through the bandit stuff, no.
Let's have a look. See.
At least not one, not.
So whoever's leading it can make investigation. There's a group check if multiple people that are doing it, so you could roll.
I'll help out.
Individually.
I will grant you advantage, Mr. Investigator.
Sure.
Nice.
Doesn't even need it. Look at him go.
So as you go through these bandits' belongings, there's not a great deal, much of interest. Just various changes of socks and all that. You are able to cobble together, loose coins and various trinkets that you might be able to resell in the nearest town. They would effectively, if you were to choose to take it, give you 50 gold. That's obviously if you choose to take it.
Cool. I'd gather it up and hand it to Althaea and just say, hopefully that covers whatever you lose for the delay.
Sure.
Couldn't come from more deserving folk.
I'll see what I can do.
Cool. Okay. So as you kind of finish exploring the rest of the cave, there's not a whole lot else in here. You kind of make your way back outside and onto the road. You're able to hitch up all the carts to the various horses. There are 3 carts, so obviously 3 horses would be attended to that. Each will need a driver, and then there are 2 horses spare. One obviously Althaea you originally rode, and the other one was kind of for a 4th wagoner, and then you kind of rotated round, or they kind of rotated round their duties. So there'd always be one off, and then they kind of take turns not driving, essentially.
I think we'll probably just tie off one of the horses to the cart so it can trail behind. Phoenix will hitch a ride in a cart so he doesn't have to go near the actual horses.
Sure.
They're probably a bit skittish around him.
As a point of reference, who is proficient with land vehicles?
Definitely not.
Not me.
Definitely not.
I mean, it's not a hard road. So you are able to get them going. Like you know enough to have the basics, even without proficiency. It just makes difficult situations harder.
Before we set off, I'll have a look around the carts, and if there's any kind of obvious damage or where things like even an untrained person could spot, I'll mend them.
Sure. Could you actually roll me a quick investigation first?
Nope, ignore the advantage. Oh,
Doesn't
roll ignore you.
matter.
As you kind of have a poke around, you note as before that the hides in the carts have been kind of gone through, taken off, sorted through. Basically, presumably to see what's underneath, possibly to find this thing. Have you noticed all the saddlebags on the horses? They hadn't been gone through though. They seem, for now at least, undisturbed. What you take from that is up to you, but yeah,
No, if they're undisturbed, I'll leave them that way.
yeah, well, you can just leave them on the horses, but you can find the occasional cut and scrape, possibly like thorns and stuff as they went through all the undergrowth to get to where they are. You can repair all that easily enough, so you can kind of get on your way back to the road. It's possibly a bit longer because you're guiding these carts through the undergrowth. It's much harder than originally just walking there, but you do have a path that the bandits very kindly made for you, and you're able to broadly follow that back so you don't lose too much time before heading back towards Althaea.
Well, I imagine we make a stop first to and Phoenix will make the suggestion. We've got carts now. Do we take them with us?
What do you mean,
So
chap?
carts have been delivered to us.
No, the body. there are 4 bodies we still
Oh,
need
right,
to
I see.
bury or deal with.
Ah,
Usually the bodies of the wagoners for the chat.
We have carts. We can take them with us.
They,
Are kind of full.
Well, I think we now have time to give them burial that's a bit more proper, as we're not.
Did you suddenly materialize a shovel when I wasn't looking?
I think leave that up to Althaea, what she wants to do. They were her friends after all.
they need a burial, but if we're coming back this way anyway, we could probably procure a shovel in town during trades, and then give them the burial they need afterwards. I hate to put business in front of them, but it feels like the most efficient thing to do.
Is there really no room on the cart at all?
I mean, it would be ridiculously undignified, and you'd probably end up losing hides or bodies during the 3-hour journey back to Odd Farm. These carts were filled to brimming. If you're planning on riding on a cart as well, you're really pushing it to put the bodies on as well. Bodies are reasonably bulky. These aren't too big carts. They're kind of, fairly little as far as carts go.
All right. Well, we know where they are.
Okay. So you kind of begin the journey, back to Alderfarm. It's getting on towards late afternoon by the time you get back, kind of 5:30-ish. So to kind of speed things along ever so slightly, out there you kind of go to the tannery where you're meant to drop off the hides. Drop them off there. They're a bit disgruntled about it's a day late, but it's not a massive deal. They'll kind of pay you 200 gold, which is the agreed on price. Obviously, you are intended to pay half of that as a payment to the merchant you're getting the ball from, and then the other half is going to your boss. And so you can finish your loop. You eventually meet up with the merchant you are getting the walls from, and again we'll just skip through it. You'll kind of load up your carts with walls. You're kind of given the 100 gold, and then you say you can only have 100 gold more than you would. Obviously, that's to pay your boss. So that happens reasonably efficiently. There's no big slip-ups. Is there anything people would like to do tonight? As I assume you're planning on staying the night in Oldham again.
While she's getting all the mercantile stuff out the way, Fenix would go buy a shovel.
Sure. A shovel is 2 gold, apparently, according to the PHP.
Oh, that's
It
expensive.
seems
Expensive shovel.
Could be fucking gold plated.
I was going to say, obviously built to last.
Yeah,
How
better
much
be.
does a
Yeah.
shovel weigh?
Pardon?
How much does a shovel weigh?
£5. You just type it in the compendium. It's probably in there.
Assuming it's
into your sheet.
general
Yeah.
store, try go with Fenix and see if I could procure a flask
Of course. Flask.
for the alcohols.
Flask or tankard, 2 copper pieces. That weighs £1.
Could I get 2 flasks? If they're that cheap.
Someone's looking to drink. Okay.
Yeah, actually, if he sees this, I'll pick up a couple of
Flask.
flasks as well. Is this flask or vials?
Flask.
Ah.
Right.
Do they have any vials?
An actual glass vial, because glass is kind of expensive, which is a process to make, is 1 gold.
Cheaper than a shovel.
Yeah, I'll pick up a vial.
Sure. Yeah. Does anyone else want to do any business in town, or should we skip?
I will attempt to get my flasks filled up with some sort of alcohol at
Sure.
the tavern, but other than that.
What are you planning on filling with? Ale, spirits, wine?
1 spirit
Mhm.
and 1 ale. preferably.
Spirit one will cost maybe 5 silver, and the arrow will be like 2 copper. I'll let
How
you
much silver was it,
choose,
sorry?
5.
5 silver.
Yeah, I'll let you choose the spirit. Yes,
Is Wisty a spirit?
Yes.
I believe so.
Cool. We'll go with Wisty. You can
These
tell
are resident
me-
alcoholic.
me as a player know jack shit about alcohol.
Last thing I wanted to do in town was just locate anything approaching a mayor or like village, I suppose I should say. So
Yeah.
town village leader, mayor, figure of authority. I think someone mentioned a sheriff at some point.
Yeah. So as you kind of ask around and talk to a few people, you kind of gather that this particular village is fairly small and quiet. There are a few notable figures, such as the bartender and a couple of the farmers who are influential, but they're not like they have no official rank as sheriff. Because it's kind of a close-knit community, there's not a whole lot of trouble. And so basically any wrongdoing is either dealt with internally, because it's normally just petty theft or whatever, or is taken to 2 days north to the town of Rutherford.
So I don't think anyone here would have likely been warned ahead of time if an important figure was coming through.
No.
Okay. I'll go catch up with Althaea and the others.
And if it was like a well-known thing, like, oh my god, the Lord's visiting, like, that news would travel ahead, everybody would know, but there's no, like, underground person who'd have special insight and knowledge that you can find in your evening of questioning.
And
Okay.
just while I'm asking around, I'll kind of slip the term Fenakama in, just see if anyone has any kind of reaction, or...
People look at you like you've got Tourette's.
Not just like random
A feeling
saying
I am
Fenakama.
incredibly familiar with.
As
So you can all kind of stay in the inn again. It will be 5 silver for everybody, but Althaea, because you made quite the impression on the bartender. He's trying to help. He's very glad you got your stuff back. He's very noble about it all. It's like, no, you can stay. You'll have lodging and food free for the tonight. You're welcome back anytime. He's all kosher about it. You kind of spend the night. It's fairly comfortable. I don't know if any of you plan on drinking the night away, but
oh, absolutely.
Drop however many gold you feel is appropriate for how wasted you want to get. Yes, so
Phoenix isn't drinking tonight.
fair enough.
Yareth, where possible, will try and convince people to buy him drinks, but will spend a little bit himself as well.
Sure.
That's necessary.
I mean, that's all flavour.
Yeah.
You can just do that. So dawn will eventually come. Again, it's fairly quiet. You'll be able to have a decent breakfast. Whether you who aren't out there, if you'd like to purchase it from the tavern, we'll have to drop a couple copper. It's much the same as you had the previous day, where it's just literally pork roast back. So you got your apple sauce, pork, and a couple of other sauces and vegetables jammed in there. It's very nice, rustic but nice. You can make any preparations for the road ahead. Hopefully you'll be aware that your first stop back would indeed be Rutherford, so you do need at least food to make the 2-day journey there, if absolutely nothing else.
Yes, how much would 4 lots of trail rations take me?
It's 5 silver for 1 day's of rations for one person.
Okay, so 2 gold.
So 2 days would be a gold per person. Yeah. I'll assume that the horses feed and stuff was stuff that he's already carrying in their saddlebags and stuff, so you don't need to worry about that. Yes. Is there anything people like to do in the morning before setting off, or are we just skipping ahead?
Just before we set off, like properly, Althaea will sort of try and catch Phoenix on his own.
Of course.
Yeah, there'd be points in the morning where he'd kind of move aside and be examining a small, worn, leather-bound book. Then kind of snap closed when Althea approaches.
Hi. We've not really spoken all that much. I just wanted to properly thank you. I know the others got a bit snappy with you yesterday, but as far as I'm concerned, you did what you thought you needed to do to keep people safe, and that's the most important thing to me, is keeping people safe. So, yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that, and I meant what I said. I'm sorry it got you hurt. It wasn't supposed to turn out that way. I'm not as subtle as I'd like to be. Sometimes I'm working on it, but well, I'm still not used to that particular spell. They have a bigger area than I'd like, but
I'm sure you'll get it. And like again, she's just got this like enthusiasm in her eyes. It's like, I don't know much about wizards, but I'm sure you're going to be a great one.
You know, when you say it, I almost believe it.
Bards, baby.
I think the others are getting ready to go, so we yeah, follow me. And she just sort of heads off towards the others.
And
Come on,
as she walks off, Phoenix would just whisper under his breath, "God damn happily," and then follow after.
Fair enough. Okay.
So I'm assuming that we're all good with traveling with each other for a bit then?
Don't have anything better to do.
Y'all were
They
family to
all
me.
seem to
I'll
be
never
going in
mind.
the same direction.
Always good to see more of the world, so I'm in.
Incredibly kind. I haven't factored in paying any of you yet, but I'm sure eventually I'll be able to, you know, find a good wage for you all. Since you are helping with my mercantile endeavors, seems only right to pay you.
My ma always said, "You travel long enough, opportunities present themselves."
Yes, well.
I don't exactly know how to use money yet. I'm still working on that. I think I may have paid way too much for the drinks, but I don't really need the money.
I can tell you, friend, you pay way too much for those drinks.
Right now, so long as I can scrounge my living together, got some money back home, so can always fall back on that if needs be. So don't you worry about it out there.
As we
Because you told me not to doesn't mean I won't.
And I appreciate that, friend.
As we travel, Phoenix would find some opportunity at some point to not so much catch him alone, but walk next to Yareth. And he'd kind of reach down to put a hand on his shoulder as he's used to doing, and then kind of miss.
Has to fall a little bit too far.
And then put it on top of his hat instead, and you go,
"Oh,
so, wizard, huh?"
Yes. Why?
Into that story?
I don't know what you mean. I trained at the university. What are you implying?
I'm sure you did, but what you did back there, that was no arcane magic I've ever seen.
Roll Arcana, Phoenix. What he did was definitely arcane magic. It's just not a spell you personally recognize.
Look, I can do as much as you can, and Yareth will use prestidigitation and make a few sparks fly out of his hand, and some muted notes and play out in the air from nowhere.
Yeah, my teacher was fond of that one too. Never really liked the look of it.
Oh well, maybe you'll prefer this one, and I then use minor illusion and just make a rabbit appear next to Althaea for a moment.
Like she will definitely like if she notices it, try and pet it. Like
sorry,
like be like, Fleet, Ash, look, it's a rabbit.
Roll to pet. Come on.
What do I roll to pet? Animal handling?
Just a d20.
Can I
It's an
roll to? Can I chase down this rabbit?
I mean, it's not moving.
Oh no.
It's just sat
Oh,
there.
no.
Oh, pet the rabbit. As it is
It's
illusory.
just an illusion of a rabbit. Why did I pick Althaea?
I imagine she just sort of like hands straight through the rabbit into the mud beneath. She's like,
I'll instantly use prestidigitation to clean it at her hand and just, sorry.
It's a neat trick, but kind of pat the leather book hanging from his waist. There's a bit of a giveaway when you're not a wizard.
Oh, well, and he'll dig around in his rucksack and pull out a tome.
Huh.
Sorry, just those ones I've got memorized, so don't need to check it.
Interesting. Maybe I can learn this one from you.
Of course, I'd be happy to. Oh, the voice has changed there.
Of course.
Going a bit Irish there. Oh, chap, yes. Of course, I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to teach you someday. And maybe I could learn a thing or two about your fire magic as well. That's very impressive.
I don't think that's a thing I can teach, unfortunately.
Well, it's still very interesting. Anyway. And like the other said, if you want to in it you, I'd be more than happy to oblige as well.
Well, sorry, I missed that.
If you said the other day that you wanted to in it you, if I know that Fleet said that they could get you in, but I can write you a letter of recommendation as well if needs be.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah. For the record, I'm sorry about yesterday. I know that what you were doing was
It's fine. We've all
What
had a
you
chance
want.
to cool off, and
yeah,
karma has prevailed.
cool off.
Ah, yes, cool off, they say. Regarding the barbarian.
At the end of the day, if we're going to go into another fighting situation, let's have a chat beforehand, eh?
I will certainly try and warn you.
The Arathor will try and extend a hand up to shake. What to offer to shake.
Yeah, he will shake back.
Amazing.
Fleet is just looking at these two with the biggest smile on her face.
Do either of us notice that?
I mean, I imagine this conversation happening while Yaris driving his car and Felix on the back, and then the camera turns around and there's Fleet on the cart behind, just staring ahead like,
Oh, shut up, you.
You're both doing so well.
And then at some point you just say, and don't tell her this, because... Just don't tell her this, but goddamn, she can fight.
Oh, can't she? I mean,
Roll
like I said,
stealth.
never.
and Fleet roll perception.
Oh ho ho!
Is that both of us?
Well, just the guy who was.
Fuck!
Yeah,
okay.
God damn it!
Could still get a natural one on the stealth.
I mean, I could beat a few things with a 5.
Like 4,
Can you?
3, 2, 1.
Let's jam.
Okay,
Oh,
3,
very
2,
close now.
1, let's jam.
Sorry, was it me or Fenix for the stealth?
Well, Fenix said the comment that you probably want to give a
Sorry, I didn't realize I was rolling still.
Damn it!
Yeah, no, please.
I don't hear shit.
No indication that anything's even being said.
Yes.
I've silently fist pumping to myself that like they're getting along.
Like I said, never been in a fight before, but the punches on that woman.
Yeah, I can only call what I've been in scraps at best, but nothing life or death like that. It's different.
It's an experience. I don't know whether I'd want to do it again.
And
But sense that we might have to.
if we're being chummy, because, why not?
Hmm.
If you need to talk to anyone, You did. Well, if you need to talk, I'm here.
I appreciate that, and same to you.
Okay,
Take a swig from the flask and carry on driving.
sure.
Drunk driver.
The ale flask,
Great.
not the ale flask, not the whiskey.
Probably reach for some port rations and remember I gave them to Althaea.
Booze is booze.
My food.
It's lighter booze and it's only a sip. Shush.
The Mallard's brew is as delicious as ever. Yes. Okay. So while you're carrying on along your journey, is anyone doing anything specific, like keeping lookout?
I suppose we're looking out for this.
Like, is anything you want to during this time? So you've got a 2 days travel. Like, the carts aren't too difficult to drive, so you could do like something else that you particularly want to. I'm just asking if there's anything.
Fleet
you
is
could
gonna
try and do.
grab Althaea at some point.
Hello.
Sorry to just sort of pull you out of the blue like this, but you travel a lot, right? You've been around?
Not much. I've done a bit of trade up north in Kazmir, but this is my first big one.
It's a bit of an odd question, I'm sure, but she just like reaches around her neck and pulls something out of her robes. Have you ever seen a symbol like this before? And you see a small golden locket with a tiny symbol of an arrow piercing a bleeding anvil on it. Anything like this?
I'll take a close look at it. I don't think so.
Roll your choice of history or religion.
Both the same. She's a religious gal, though.
Sure.
Oh, big brother.
Okay. You haven't exactly seen that specific iconography before. However, you kind of piece together through intuitive things. And yeah, arrow piercing, bleeding anvil. Anvil, blacksmiths. Oh, dwarves are typically blacksmiths. Arrow, bow. Oh, elves typically use bows. The anvil is bleeding. Oh, and you kind of twig. Perhaps this is some kind of reference to when Salen killed Ulfgor. You've got the arrow piercing, bleeding anvil. Elf causing dwarves to bleed. That's probably your gut instinct. And you kind of look up at the half drow face in front of you, and that kind of almost confirms your suspicions, because obviously the drow are the descendants of Thaldemir Drow, who was an elf who had an integral part in that duel that caused Ulfgor to die. And kind of piecing all this is fairly sure that's probably what it is. Whether this is some simple is related with just drow in general, if this perhaps has some specific alignment back to Thaldemir Drow himself, I'm not entirely sure, but that's the kind of general vibes you're getting from this as you look at it.
So I can't say I've seen it before.
Damn.
But just looking at it, it might be a reference to you know about how the dwarves their god is a bit dead.
Yeah, I've read all about it.
I think this might be a reference to that. I'm not 100% certain. It could be something else, but the anvil and the arrow and it bleeding. Where did you get it from?
That's the thing. I don't really know. It's just something I've always had. As far back as I can remember.
I mean, that might explain it. You are half drow, or at least look it. Maybe it's a keepsake from your place of birth. Maybe a little piece of home.
Maybe.
How discreet is this conversation?
I doubt
I
Althaea
would
is
be-
ever.
I would be doing my best to keep it as quiet as possible.
Okay.
Sure. Let's just say roll perception, Phoenix. So we've already established that Fleet's cart was behind you. They're actually trying to have a quiet conversation. You probably, draw it back a bit, and then so you can see that Althaea and Fleet have kind of pulled inside and see if you're having some sort of conversation. You see something being passed from Fleet to Althaea and then back. You can tell it's kind of small. It probably glints a bit. You can tell it's metallic in some way. In terms of actual words, you kind of get bits and pieces, but not really enough to kind of create a full picture of what's going on.
If I hear mention of like drow and place of birth, I'm less focused on the trinket. I'd probably just call her over at some point. Yeah, I've been meaning to ask Fleet. Like, I've been through Weetha, and I ain't ever heard an elf with a name like that. Gotta be a story there.
Oh, well, it's not much of a story. I just grew up around Tabaxi, and they gave me this name. That's just how they are,
Well, yeah, but the story is, how did you end up around Tabaxi?
It's not a very long one. It's just sort of always been my family, and that's just the way it's been. If I think really hard and I concentrate, I can just barely make out someone's face, but it doesn't stick around for very long.
I'm sorry to hear that. And then I'd probably respectfully
It's
tune out the rest of the conversation.
It's no skin off my back. I mean, I've got a family. They love me, and I love them. It's no problem to me.
Althaea will sort of almost like with one of her hands cup Fleet, place the necklace in. Just play. If it's precious to you, that's all that matters, regardless of whatever it initially meant. You've got a very nice way of seeing the world, and I'm happy to be considered part of your family. I'm sure it's a mystery we can solve together as well.
That might be nice. Yeah. She just sort of stares off into whatever horizon there is for a minute.
Sure. Okay. Is there any other conversations people like to have? Or are we good?
Not so much conversation, but I would be keeping an eye on the road just to look out for any other similarly sized caravans matching the description from the note.
Sure. Making a perception check.
Yeah, but same, just focusing on the road.
I'll
Nothing in particular.
grant advantage to
Fair enough. You should also all now have horses
Yeah.
in your inventory.
Nice.
Ah, horse 4.
Yeah, you can rename them whatever you want if you like to give them a name.
Horse
Stephanie!
It's just currently their default.
Stephanie.
I think horse 3 is about as close as I'll
And
get
the
names.
fastest Lotus Phoenix is going to get to his horse. It's just in case, we need to roll checks for them, like maybe they've got an AoE or they take damage, it's just so you can keep track. It's probably not going to be too important.
I
It's
do
just
quite
that,
like the idea that
if you
Fenix
need it.
walks up to his horse and he's like, "Your horse 3."
That implies he'd even
Third
walk up
one,
to a
Ian
horse.
Tide, of course. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
Yes,
was
okay.
did Matt say he'd grant me advantage?
I believe on perception, yes.
Okay,
We believe in you, Yareth.
sure.
Don't fuck
Let's
it
go
up.
for it.
Don't fuck it up.
Oh. Maybe in future I'll grant you the advantage, friend.
I didn't know you had a negative modifier.
What about Yareth so far implies that he is wise?
That's a good point.
So it's reasonably quiet down in this part of the background because there's not a whole lot south of here beyond the southern wastes, which, as the name implies, aren't overly populated. So there's only occasional traveller, and it's probably people just travelling to nearby villages. A handful of people on feet, a couple of people on horseback. There's no large caravans. There might be the occasional singular cart, but nothing that exactly matches the description that was found in the note. However, as the time approaches, where I got my notes, 4 o'clock, or just after 4 in the afternoon. This isn't just the after, this is absolutely everybody. You hear down the road what can be best described as a blood-curdling scream.
Well, that's not good.
Fleet is already off of the cart and sprinting towards it.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
hop
as I
off.
say, it's still a bit down the road.
I will just try and get my horse to go a bit faster.
Yeah, I'll hop off the cart, grab the reins of Fleet's horse, and
Sure.
try and keep it in line. So it doesn't run off.
There are 3 horses pulling carriages. I believe one had been tied to the back of the other cart because Phoenix was riding, and then the only person on horseback would be Althaea.
Yeah, I'll just kind of grab the reins of Fleet's and keep it in procession.
So is Fleet the only one running off ahead, and the rest of you are just ambling on behind?
I don't think amble.
Try and speed up the horses a bit.
A concerned shuffle?
Sure. Oh, please let
Concerned
that. The name
Shuffle.
of the party, the Concerned Shuffle. So Fleet, as you head on down the road, you kind of come to kind of a break in the trees, so the kind of the forest seems to end. It gets a bit hilly and rockier, and what the scene before you can only be described as a massacre.
Oh, jeez.
Let me put you on the map. Where are you? So you've come from this direction, and you can see there's about 4 various carts, most of which seem to have been derailed. There are a few notable things about this scene. First of all, there are plenty of figures such as these who are kind of dressed in kind of black get-up, hoods and stuff, very similar to the bandits you yourselves encountered before. There are a handful of figures such as these who seem to be dressed kind of pretty much as just ordinary travellers. Not a single one of these figures is still alive, and you can tell that at a glance. Several of these bodies have been mutilated in some way. Some are literally torn in half. Some just have the faces clearly just destroyed. Most of them are suffering from some sort of lack of appendage, be it just a hand or the entire arm. There are a couple who've clearly had their chest just torn open to get at whatever's within. It's not pretty, and you probably have to put a hand over your nose to not gag and retch at the kind of irony smell of blood that's just absolutely consuming the air around you.
Well, considering that Fleet already has one hand up to her mouth, because holy shit, that's not too difficult to do.
I mean, it's a multi-purpose hand. The other curious thing is this, what I've described in this circle here. This is what can only be described as so there's an indent in the road that seems kind of ovoid. It's perfectly clean, and if you were to approach, I'm not saying you will, but if you were to, you'll kind of see it almost like the smooth as glass, almost how clean it's cut out of the earth. But what's even more curious is the fact it's kind of gone through stones and kind of perfectly cut through them. and then it's kind of carried on up, seemingly out of the ground, and this cart that's next to it has had a section taken out of it, as has this body, again just all perfectly clean, as if you kind of imagine this ovoid kind of carrying on up and probably finishing maybe like 3-4 feet above the ground.
So it's just all one continuous, like, perfect ovalish circle, just out of existence.
It's like one of those things where, like, maybe you're messing around
Classy.
with like Paint or Minecraft or whatever, you just like delete a perfectly like ovoid section out of it. It looks really funky. It looks completely unnatural and just wrong. The carts, you can see some that are overturned. The horses are all equally as dead as the people around, as I'm put on the map. There's a few various goods in these carts. They're mostly scattered. Several of the carts probably overturned, all that kind of thing. Yeah, that's the general gist of the scene before you. The others are probably 5 minutes behind. Judging on the scream and just kind of how several of these bodies are still actively bleeding, their blood is throwing it very freshly. Kind of again just the general smell, you imagine this can't have happened more than 10-15 minutes ago, 20 maximum.
I'm looking anywhere for like a trail, something that would lead me to the source of that scream, or if I think it's someone who is already dead.
Your best guess would be this area, so chances are it's probably someone who's already copped it,
Shit. Okay.
unless they screamed and were taken away from here. Like, your triangulation said the scream would have been here. You're keen to like half elf ears.
Fleet holding her nose would just investigate this very strange oval, trying to figure out what the hell happened.
Okay, investigation.
Just
Kind of spend a
for,
bit or so looking at this as the others catch up to you.
That's not
just
bad.
for reference, how long have we been traveling for today?
It's about, I believe it says just after 4 in the afternoon, so,
Have we passed where we previously?
yes. You're probably 3-4 hours travel beyond that. Possibly a bit more, because you're now on carts and stuff.
And we would have stopped to bury some bodies.
Yes, you would have done that. We'll kind of gloss over that. Yes, Fleet, as you investigate this kind of weird anomaly, I guess is the best way of putting it, you kind of spend a minute looking in, and your fingers kind of trace, as I said, this very like glass smooth kind of chunk that's been taken out of the ground. Your finger kind of follows it up, like up to where the cart should be, and it kind of follows the natural curvature round of this ovoid as it kind of cut clean through the cart, and your finger kind of travels to the edge, kind of the point where you guesstimate the top of the ovoid would be, and the radius of this thing is probably about 3.5 feet, whatever this chunk's been taken out. As you kind of step back pondering this, you kind of notice the body that I said some of it had clearly been consumed by this anomaly. There's no other visible wounds on it. As you kind of look at the general layabout, this figure and this figure are clearly kind of laying as if they've been impacted from some kind of force that seemed originated from this point in some way.
Yeah, so like thrown away from the oval area.
Yes.
Okay.
Not necessarily a blast. It like they're just clearly lying in such a way that they have been hit by some force from that area. As you kind of look around, the general pattern is to somehow follow that, but there are definitely exceptions. For example, this is one of the wagoneers who has somehow found their way over here. It's just that generally people seem to have been like knocked away from the general direction of this oval. It's definitely not a rule, to the point where you don't believe it was an explosion or like some radiating force.
Yeah, so there's no like scorch marks or anything that would
there's nothing
after effects of a blast.
There's nothing of that kind of cool at all. The only kind of noticeable difference about the terrain, aside from this ovoid hole would be the blood that's now everywhere, and probably various guts and everything else gross.
Other viscera, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
Fleet's just gonna grab one of her spare robes, tear off a sleeve, and just tie it around her face as a sort of like face mask.
kind of as you finish this to kind of block out the overwhelming scent of blood, like threatening to overwhelm you. This is kind of roughly when the others will kind of round the corner, and you all will now witness the scene as well. You can kind of, well, assume you've dismounted and all that jazz.
Oh, goodness. Fleet, what did you do? Chap. Sorry, wrong time for a joke like that.
If I was strong enough to do something like this, I would not be traveling in a small group. I
Oh,
don't know what in the hell's happened here. That do you see this space? Just nowhere. It's just gone.
can I have a look at this space? Does it look like
Yeah.
some
So
sort of...
again, kind of the best analogy I can come up with would be like some error in a game that's kind of created this perfectly ovoid void. Obviously, that's not an analogy that springs to mind of all of these D&D characters.
Yeah.
But very much that is kind of the best way of describing it.
So is it just like... sorry, was it things in that area just sort of don't exist sort of thing?
Yeah, they're
Was
just
it?
kind of perfect ovoid, and kind of anything that would have like been inside it is now completely gone, essentially.
At a casual glance, how well armed do the Caravaneers look?
So these are the bandits.
Yep,
These are the Caravaneers.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so at a casual glance, looking at the scattered bodies, how well armed do these guys look?
So there's miscellaneous weapons everywhere. It's difficult to necessarily associate any one weapon with any one corpse because these guys seem to have been flung everywhere. But just generally based on the amount of weapons, your guess is these Caravaneers were probably armed as well.
Cool, but there
More
were
so than a Caravaneer
five
typically
that we
will.
can see. What seems to have killed these bandits? Because there's only 5 Caravaneers, and there's a lot more bandits.
I
Some-
mean, something I'm assuming magical has happened right here. Is there anything left on the cart that's here?
Yeah, so as I say, there's clearly goods on these carts. 3 of them have been scattered. So these three, this one, sorry, not these 3. So those 3 that I just indicated, they've clearly been knocked over and tipped. This one, however, still has its goods in it, but it seems like that's probably just because the horse has just crashed in and it hasn't had the opportunity to turn over. There just seems to be various kind of cloth. So stuff that might be made into carpets or curtains, stuff like that, as opposed to necessary for clothes, kind of based on the designs on them. That's just like a casual glance. There might be more, and we'd have to look further.
Can we assume that whatever that Phenacama thing is, can we assume that it did this?
I didn't want to think that, but I was thinking it. Could I have a look at the Caravaneers and see if, like, they have any symbology, like in any pockets or anything? If there's anything about them that wouldn't be there.
Yeah. Investigation.
Sure.
And again, what seems to have actually killed these bandits?
That shouldn't have been to advantage, but 21.
Yeah. Okay. Looking at the Wagoneers, so kind of based on their dress, it's kind of on the newer side, or at least it was before it was destroyed.
Yeah.
So you gather these clothes were probably bought specifically for this disguise. You kind of make a similar observation to Phoenix about the number of weapons. So you gather that some of these Caravaneers were probably also armed. These men are typically quite tanned, far more tanned than you would necessarily expect for anyone who wasn't in some sort of deserty region, such as like the small band just below the Gandwin Mountains or the Southern Wastes. Because simply you wouldn't get that much exposure to sun beyond that and there. That's kind of typical. There's no like unique tattoos or markings. It seems almost these people are almost too normal in terms of they like seem decidedly average on basically every, like their nose, their eyes, their hair. It's almost like someone's gone out of their way to make a group of people who look as average as possible. There's no distinctive markers, no birthmarks, no scars, no tattoos, anything. You're definitely getting an odd feeling about these Carabiniers. In terms of what killed the bandits, they are massacred in the same way the Carabiniers are. So, as I said, this chap is torn in half. They've got their chest been torn open, the face is destroyed, missing appendages. Like whatever happened to the Wagoneers also happened to these bandits.
So it doesn't look like they killed each other. It looks like one thing killed everyone.
I mean, you are not aware of a human alive who can tear a man in half.
I didn't say one person, but one entity
thing.
seems to have done the same thing to all of these guys, as opposed to they killed each other.
I mean, it's possible there's several entities who did the same thing. These do not look like the remains of a battle. Definitely not.
Then, moving on, what if there was any survivor to this mess? What seems like the most obvious route that they would have taken, or fled, or any obvious signs of someone running away from this?
Survival.
Not my strong suit.
You can't really be sure. I mean, there's the road. That seems an easy way to go on. I mean, you could hide among these rocks, maybe. There seems to be, like you see the land kind of go down. It seems to be a little gorgy bit down there, maybe. There's several ways you could have gone. There's no way to guess exactly where a panicked person would run.
Sam, this rocky bit with the dead tree on it, could I climb that to get a better view?
This big rock? Sure.
Yes.
So you kind of approach it. Can I ask you to make a quick athletics check?
Okay. That's a 6.
It's not, unfortunately, it's not too hard to climb. There's plenty of handholds, all that kind of thing. So you kind of get up to this main kind of, there's this flatter bit on top of this large rock. You kind of walking around the tree, observing it like this is very dead. It probably is not going to support your weight. When you kind of happen to look behind the rock, and behind the rock, you notice something decidedly massive. It is large, bulky, furry, feathery.
Uh-oh.
And as you kind of look down at it, you kind of see this face turn up towards you.
Uh-oh.
This beaked face that decidedly resembles an owl. Your best approximation to this would be an owlbear. However, this seems to have been heavily injured as well. You can clearly see one of the back legs has been inflicted with several wounds. There are several bolts sticking out of it. It's openly, or there are several gashes from it where it looks like it should be openly bleeding, although it isn't, which is a tad odd. But kind of as you look down at this thing in the eyes, and it turns its head up to look at you, it unleashes this mighty noise that's somewhere between a screech and a roar. And kind of, the classic as this force waves past you, your hair runs back, you get splattered with spittle. The rest of you obviously hear this. However, we'll be rolling initiative after the break.
Do we have owlbears out in the Badlands? Would I have a reasonable idea of what this creature is? Or am I just making an approximation?
In a minute. So we'll just be taking a quick 5-10 biology break to go to the loo, have a drink. So yeah, we're coming back then. Join us soon. Thank you.
We're back.
Hello.
Welcome back.
What up?
Hope you enjoyed the little break, and you were all as in suspense as all of our players. I think we shall kick this off with. Let me delete that. An initiative roll, please.
Just praying that I roll high. All right. This is something I could work with.
No, it's not appropriate music, actually.
Actually, did you just ban someone?
Yes,
Oh,
that was a
yeah, I
bot.
saw why.
Hey, man, it just means we're getting popular enough that we have bots in our chat. That's enough for me.
Is that how that works? I'm not trying to...
Close enough.
Yeah,
It's like a ratio. You get so many people to so many bots.
fair enough. Okay. Is that everybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we're still waiting on Urashi to roll initiative.
Oh, sorry.
Get your initiative in there, Slowpoke. God.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm struggling.
You automatically
This
get an
computer
initiative.
is so bad.
these days.
Oh my god. Where is it? Where's my token? Oh, there's my token.
It's on the road where you came from.
I know. I'm seeing it now. Here we go.
Yeah, unfortunately, the other side...
Yeah!
I said you get a natural one because you're being silly. Unfortunately, it's the other side of the map to the nasty monster you're trying to fight. Okay. Descending. Okay, Fleet, you and this thing has locked eyes, and kind of its roared eyes down, and you can hear the presumably confusion and surprise from your party members behind you. What are you doing?
I am dropping my quarterstaff just onto these rocks, and I am going to, as slowly and calmly as I can, climb down with a bit of rations.
Oh no.
So I'm going to try and do something here, and hopefully it
Like a
works.
tiny shred of beef jerky kind of thing.
Yes, just like a day's worth of rations and just bring them over. It's a big boy. He can eat a lot.
Yeah. So climbing is half your movement speed, so you can kind of move 20 feet. So you can easily get like there. You can even move right next to it if you want. It's up to you.
I'm not going to move right next to it. I'm going to stay away, not in attacking range, and just slide the rations over. Just keep my hands back.
Sure. So we'll call that your turn.
And pray to God that it doesn't bite me.
Yeah. Althaea, what are you doing?
Having heard the big roar, she'll sort of actually start motioning, turn to probably Yareth. Like, what's happening? What did that? And then just run over to him.
You have also long rested, Arashi. You should be at full health.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting there. Don't worry.
I'm almost there.
Yeah, it's the natural one. She'll get there in her own pace.
Yeah, I'll get there in my own time. I'm very slow.
Yeah. Other than that, that's me.
Cool. On to Fleet's news friend's turn.
Hopefully.
You kind of tossed this kind of little bit of like beef jerky at its feet. The closest thing you can think of from your tray rations to something it might enjoy. It steps over it, and it raises a claw to swipe at you.
Fuck.
16 hit.
Yes, it does.
So you can see, as I said before, its back leg is quite injured. So it's kind of needing to support itself with only one leg. So it seems to be able to swipe at you one at a time, which you consider fortunate.
Good.
Deal 6 slashing damage.
Ow.
I
Okay.
need you to make a strength check. No, saving throw. Sorry.
Thank goodness it's the saving throw and not a check. But that's still a natural one.
Oh no.
So it's kind of a rock in the way. So we'll say it kind of swung like that, and you find yourself pinged through the air, and you kind of land prone next to one of the corpses. This one, let's say this is one that kind of had its chest torn open.
Oh, good.
As you kind of gaze at this, and with the impact you felt and the kind of claw marks now on your side, you reckon one of those claws could tear your chest open, much like the corpse next to you.
Yep, fair enough. Fleet just... Ow!
So it's
That
5
doesn't
hit
seem good.
It's kind of going to use the rest of its movement to kind of climb up on top of the rock, kind of just to survey who else is now around. It's kind of going to use just the rest of its turn to kind of roar in everybody else's general direction.
So we can all see that now.
Yeah, it's a bit higher up than you. So if you were like stand here, you won't be able to shoot it. But like from where you currently are, you'll be able to shoot it.
I'll just turn to turn and look up at Althaea and just, I think it may have been that large fellow over there. I will use my movement to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and look over at Fenix, raise my staff, and prepare to cast Eldritch Blast, and just look over at Fenix and say, "Are we fighting it, or what? What do you think?" And if he fires anything, I will fire Eldritch Blast at
So
it.
you're holding action for if Phoenix seems to attack the creature.
Yes.
Cool. Phoenix.
That's big. I'd look down at Fleet and the obvious kind of... Fleet was basically thrown out from behind this outcropping, right?
Yeah, you kind of just... You kind of heard the roar, and then Fleet's body just impacted the ground next to this corpse. Fleet,
Yeah, I think we're fine this. And I'll kind of instinctively lob a produce flame up at him. And don't worry, I have checked. I'm 30 feet away.
Sure. Attack roll, please.
You saw Fleet jump down
And
then fly
might
up.
well do both at the same time, since you're holding your Eldritch Blast. You will both hit. Please roll damage.
Oh, I hit! Wow.
This thing is injured, so it's moving fairly slowly and predictably, so it's not too hard to hit. That's a total of 8 damage.
I was waiting to say, and once again, Gareth misses the target.
Yeah. So,
And then
Phoenix, as your kind of flame just kind of tickles into it, you kind of get a bit that kind of already damaged. You don't seem to be able to do much more immediately. Yareth, your kind of Eldritch Blast kind of hits it square in the side of its face as it was looking at Phoenix, and it kind of squeaks in pain, and you kind of see this gush of blood kind of being expelled from that area.
hoping that's distracting.
However,
I'll move up
curiously, among this splash of blood is no, your eyes are deceiving you. There's no way it's bleeding a random scrap of cloth that kind of seems to just float to the ground on the rock next to it. No, your eyes are definitely playing tricks on you. Phoenix, what are you doing?
I'm
just
sorry,
moving.
what?
right up to the outcropping and then kind of shuffling around until I'm next to Fleet. Just check him over, make sure he hasn't actually been like properly knocked.
I mean, yeah, Fleet is conscious that they've clearly been winded, so holding the side where they were clawed.
You all right there?
Fine enough. It's not hungry.
Hey, we call that your turn.
I think we're about to put that to the test.
I assume that's your turn, Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ulashi.
Oh, I think we know what might be about to happen. First of all, I would like to rage,
Are you
please.
sure? Because you will waste it if you do not attack or are attacked until...
Yeah, I'm
by
quite a
the
long way
beginning of the
away,
next
aren't
one.
I? 5,
Quite a
10,
way away.
15, 20, 25, 30. Oh yeah, I'll dash then. 35, 40,
Sure.
45, 50, 55, 60. There we are.
Okay. Cool. Is that your turn?
Yeah.
Okay, Fleet, back to you.
I'm gonna stand up. Ow, son of a bitch. And since I have 15 feet of movement left, which is not a super comfortable amount of movement, given that it's right on top of me, I'm gonna move, let's just say 15 feet in this direction, and I'm going to take the dodge action. Fleet just sort of sits back on her feet and holds 2 hands up. Alright, ready for you this time. Come on.
Nice. Althaea. Althaea, sorry. I always say it wrong.
Seeing the injured Fleet, just immediately like, Fleet, stay safe, and I shall cast Healing Word.
Aw.
God bless Althaea.
Heal that word. Ooh.
That is full
70
HP for me.
And because it's a bonus action, I can't inspire anyone. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. On the Owlbear's turn, it's going to turn its head towards the person who's done the most damage to it, and it's going to, in kind of one bound, it's going to leap off the giant rock, and it's going to kind of cover the air, and it's going to impact on the floor here, and it's just going to run and barrel straight into Yareth. It's going to whack you once with its claws, and it's going to beak you. I assume that one misses. Does a 15 hit?
Let me just chat. A 15 does hit, yes.
So it'll be just 11, not the plus.
Oh!
I am straight unconscious.
Oh my god, amazing.
Just
Is-
straight down.
Max
that was
damage.
max damage for the stream. So you, if you're not unconscious, you automatically fail the strength save, and you are pinged 1, 2, 3, 4, right into the.
Oh, good, right into the hole.
In front of you. Well, that is its entire turn.
Ow.
You whisper roll me a death saving throw, please.
Make sure it's to GM so we cannot see it.
Yes, /GR space 1d20. Noted. Phoenix, back to you.
Yeah, that does not look good. Seeing that was a pretty nasty hit, I'm gonna cast Mage Armor on myself.
Fair enough. Sure, you are now armored majorly. We don't need to note that, we'll just remember that. What does your mage armor look like, by the way, actually?
Basically, the slight heat haze that you see over his hair all the time kind of expands and descends across his body, so he's basically like wreathed in a slight kind of hazy layer of air.
It's too difficult to hit because people can't work out exactly where you are because you're hazy. Yeah, I like it. So that's your action. You do anything else?
I don't really have bonus actions, so yeah, no, that's me.
Urashi, you are now next to the big nasty monster who
Oh,
has
how
just yeeted
fucking
your gnome
yes.
friend into.
This makes
with
me
it.
very happy.
Wow, seeing your friends hurt gets happy? Wow.
No, I gotta have a fight. That's what I'm happy
Don't-
about.
Don't worry
I
about me.
am
I'm absolutely
going to
fine, chat.
rage,
Sure,
and then I'm gonna try and take a whack.
sure. Roll to whack.
If it'll let me.
You've been denied your right to whack.
That's whack.
That's not a whack, is it?
It might be.
Unfortunately, does not whack.
Grrr, and then I'm
It's-
just gonna make myself look really angry.
So,
Want it to attack me.
so as you kind of swing, it's injured, so you kind of expect it to be easy to hit, but there is definitely some sort of cunning behind its owly eyes. It seems to have lured you in somewhat, and it kind of just easily, well, not easily, just about ducks under your swipe that you were sure was going to hit, unfortunately. Yeah, so your turn?
Yeah.
Cool. Back to Fleet.
Since it is not paying attention to me, and that is somewhat annoying, I'm going to get behind it, and I'm going to punch it, because I dropped my quarterstaff up on top of the rocks.
Good advantage.
Big punchy.
That definitely punches.
For big punchy damage. And
That's
then,
an excellent punch, Fleet.
And then, bonus action, also punch. But I don't think an 8 will hit. Wow!
Kind of, as you kind of strike it in the rear end.
Just trying to hit that injured leg, just to get it
you
to
kind
drop.
of hear the meaty whack.
Just
it
fist
kind
the
of-
owlbear. Problem solved.
leg kind of instinctively almost like lashes out behind you, and you kind of have to dodge out the way of that to not be hit by it, and that kind of throws off your try and follow up punch in the same area. So unfortunately, that's not hit.
And then with my last bit of movement, I'm going to move right here. Just so it's paying attention to this side and not towards Althaea and Phoenix.
Sure. Althaea.
Uh,
You just saw your gnome friend get yeeted into a pit.
Yes.
Good way of describing it.
So I'm going to turn to Urashi, who I know she's in her combat, like she's in her rage, but I turn to her and say, Urashi, you can do this, as I bardically inspire you.
Nice, thanks.
And then I'm going to run down to the pit, place my hands on Yareth and use my healing hands action to heal him for 1 hit point.
You heal 1 hit point, Jareth.
Does that-
Oh.
Death save is now nullified.
Oh, thank you, chap. That
Welcome
natural that natural 1 was not great.
No.
Ooh, okay.
back. And that's me.
Yeah, okay. Back to the Owlbear. I mean, it recognises Arashi as a threat, but the fleet did just whack it up the
Oh
arse.
no.
So it's going to fight fleet, and then it's going to claws Arashi. So fleet and Arashi.
Oh, come on! 22 hits. Are we both down on
She
1
knows what
hit?
it hit.
I'll be fine.
I'm at 1.
That is 9 piercing damage to fleet, and that is. Oh, that's an awful roll.
How?
That is
How?
7
I'm fine and I'm
after
angry.
3. After 3, because you're raging.
Yeah, so you take
Oh yeah.
3 damage.
Amazing.
And I took literally 3 times as much damage as you. And you got crit.
I was going to say, you took 3 damage from a crit.
Yeah, I know.
I'm basically
Seeing how,
amazing. That's like what's happened.
So kind of as it kicked out when Fleet had to dodge, it kind of whipped its head around, and you see it kind of clamp its beak into Fleet's side as they scream out in pain. You kind of hear a crunching as their bones are clearly under a certain amount of stress beneath. The kind of rear claw kind of whack out at Yurashi in somewhat a way to kind of ward you off, kind of hold you back almost. But because it can't see you, it kind of just whacks you kind of in the thigh a bit. You kind of just, that'll be a bruise in the morning, but you ain't too bothered. Yareth, you are lying in a pit with Althaea above you.
Yareth will use like both hands on staff to lever himself up and just put hand on Althea's arm. Just thank you, thank you, chap. That was bloody good of you.
I'm going to need both of you hit by attacks to make strength saving throws as well, please.
Oh, yes, the strength saves. Am I going flying? Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. 5, 10, 20.
Lovely.
And strength save, you will have advantage because
Rage.
you're angry. Lumi,
Yeah, I'm getting there. I can't remember what I need to do.
Strength save.
Strength with advantage,
with
isn't it?
advantage.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
fine.
So
Strong.
it's just a little tap. So you kind of
She's
hear
strong.
it kind of crunching on Fleet's bones. It kind of throws it away. Again, you kind of just get glanced by its foot. Okay, back to you, Gareth. Sorry, it's my bad.
Cool. So yeah, it's fine. Happens. Yeah, we'll stand up. Thank Althea. Jolly good chap. Don't know what I'd do without you. Bloody hell. Move over here a bit and just go. Okay. Do this again. And Eldritch blast the Owlbear.
Sure, roll to hit.
Bang.
Pew pew.
That was
still
the
with roll
GM.
on you, but for chat that is a 23 to hit, which will
Oops.
definitely hit roll damage.
That's 7 force damage.
7 again. You're good at getting 7 damage.
Nice.
Yeah. So kind of as it's facing in the direction of Fleet, you kind of catch it in the lower body, and once again, kind of with your first blow, you kind of spilled blood again. Blood seems to burst out from its side at the point of impact. However, this time it isn't red; it's black. But the first one was red, but this is black. No, wait, where did it go? You could have sworn it landed there, but all you see there is like a pile of dirt. What? This is weird.
Can I tell? Like, can I tell? I know that I was unconscious for some of that, but is it all wounds are doing that, or is it just something that I can see and it's only when I do it?
It's just something that you've happened to notice on your attacks.
Okay, this is concerning.
You want to know more about it? You'll probably take longer.
Probably take what? Sorry.
Probably take longer. So your action to the
Yeah. Let's. Do I want to do that? Is that stupid? No. Well, that'll be me.
Okay. Phoenix, back to you.
Cool. I'll have a clamber up here. So half movement from climbing,
Yeah.
20 feet of movement. Do I see this piece of cloth that came out of the owlbear?
You have to it's not immediately. Oh, it's there. It wasn't particularly large. You'd have to spend time looking for it. It's
I'll
kind of
look
the big
down,
points it could be in.
see that Arashi's right up in its face, and just go, okay, that's sort of handled. And yeah, I'll have a look for this.
Sure.
cloth.
Action to make a investigation check. We'll call it.
Ugh.
There's blood everywhere. You're kind of just ing around it. You can't immediately find it on this turn, unfortunately.
All right.
Urashi, back to you.
Hell yeah! Guess what
Are you
I'm
ready?
gonna do?
You're going to run away.
No,
Cast Power Word Trail.
whack! Oh fuck's sake!
That
That might
does
just hit
indeed
them.
whack.
Oh, it does whack. Okay, good.
I hit with an 11, Arashi.
Okay.
9,
Solid 9. Not awful.
and I step to take another whack when I get chance.
So you kind of, as it was facing fleas, it kind of knocked you back with its foot. You kind of just take the opportunity when it's not looking. You kind of overhead strike, just catch it. And you kind of tear a chunk out of its thigh. However, Arashi, you're probably the only person who can see this because you're not close enough. This time the blood, it's not red, it's not black, it's kind of browny. As you kind of look where it fell on the floor, all you see are splinters of wood. This is definitely weird.
What the
What's your action? Do you do anything
fuck?
else?
It's definitely weird.
Do anything else?
Can I pick up a bit of wood very quickly and just kind of hold it up to the owlbear, looking confused, like what's this, buddy?
Is this yours?
Is this yours?
It probably
Did you
wouldn't
drop
be
this?
a wise thing because you'd have to drop your guard, crouch, pick up a tiny splinter, stand up, and look the owlbear in the face. It's a bit of a process. It probably wouldn't be wise. Let's put it that way.
When we say it wouldn't be wise,
As
I mean-
in, it's probably going to have
You're-
advantage to hit you if you choose to do this.
Arashi knows
To let your
combat.
guard down.
I mean, I feel like you actually doesn't mind if it hits her, but yeah, okay, I'll leave it. No sense getting killed for something that stupid.
Fleet.
Ow. Big ow.
Yeah, definitely. Ow.
So I'm going to. I'm prone again since I got tossed, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna take
So
half
go
my
on.
movement to stand up. Just move 15 feet this way and take the dodge action again because fucking ow!
Yep. Your whole turn?
That would be my whole turn, yes.
Cool. Althaea.
I'm going to run up to Yurashi's back, and sort of while she's sort of moving around in combat, I'm just going to place my hand on her back and say, "I know you can keep us safe. I believe in you." As I cast heroism on her.
Oh, what does that do? I forget.
Heroist.
You get temporary HP.
Yee.
Nice.
Your concentration? I can't remember.
I do have to think about it. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, okay. So I'll give you concentration, and then we'll give her. We'll call that heroism. So
Yeah,
beginning of your turn, you gain, I believe it's 3 temporary HP.
I think it gains it. Yeah, at the start of each of its turns. Yeah.
So start of your turn, Arashi.
And then so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
So do I, in theory, just keep gaining temporary HP?
No, it only takes you up to 3.
Yeah, temporary HP doesn't stack, so it would just replenish
Ah.
or replace if you got more than you'd got last time.
Oh, okay.
I'll move over to there.
It's basically if you get temporary HP and you already had temporary HP, you just take whichever temporary HP is more.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Can you imagine how overpowered Alexis would be if he could stack temp HP?
Oh my god, yeah.
Exactly. Over to the owlbear. It's going to turn at the person who just did it and whack, and it's going to whack back. Beak claws. 16 and 24.
Sam, you're not pulling any punches today, huh? Sheesh.
These
I
are the
mean-
dice. I didn't draw them.
I'm pretty sure that's gonna hit. Yeah,
Okay, they both hit.
yeah, just
So that will be a total of 8 damage.
a total of 8.
overall.
Oh no, it's like a
They
whole
pin up.
5 damage.
That'll be another strength saving throw with advantage, please. Yeah, you're fine. So you kind of take this claw to the side. You kind
Stronks.
of, grunt in pain, and it kind of clamps onto your arm, and it kind of goes to throw you, but you kind of just stand firm. You kind of go low, battle ready stance, and you will not be moved by this thing or anything else. It will move up, take an opportunity attack after they actually choose to run away from it, because it's not too dumb. It seems to have some sort of cunning behind its eyes. Yareth.
I'm just going to take this moment to say that some people are saying in Discord that the stream is very spotty at the moment and it's
Yes, it
buffering a
is.
lot.
That sounds like a Britty internet problem.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done everything I can to try and make it as smooth as I can. Sadly, there's not much else I can do for today.
Well, we're sorry about that. There's not a whole lot we can do. We'll try and do something before next time.
Yeah.
We'll keep going. So if it's not
Yeah.
too painful to watch and keep going.
We can always do a catch up thing if needs be, if
Well-
the VOD's bad as well.
If they want to catch up, they can try and watch the VOD.
Yeah.
I would imagine that it shouldn't be constantly buffering, so hopefully anything that is transmitted by Britty internet will be picked up by it.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping.
Yes, so hopefully the VOD should be fine at the end of the
Yeah.
stream, and obviously upload to YouTube as well afterwards on Friday. Yes, I'll look back at the VOD after the stream. We'll try and get that sorted. We're very sorry about that. Trying to do something from home, Britty's internet is going through a lot by trying to stream and Roll20 and Discord. So
Yeah.
these things happen until
The signal's got to get through all that smoke.
yeah. We'll just have to completely redo the infrastructure around Britty's house just so you can have better
Oh, I
Wi-Fi.
wish I could.
Yeah, that have to be a lot of money.
Get that monetization going.
Donate to our Patreon.
Anyway,
Subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Yareth.
So Yareth will just stare at this owlbear and just. All right, chap. Look, you're not playing exactly fair right now, are you? So just stop. It will smash his staff into the ground for a moment. The orb on the end goes sort of a crackling yellowy orange, and then I'm going to cast Witch Bolt, firing at it.
Cool.
Zappy, zappy.
Please hit.
Oh, its AC is 11.
Oh,
No. Ah.
I love Yareth.
if only
dice
you'd
we
rolled
have
above
are
a
like
4 on the
so sorry.
dice.
He hits once in a blue moon, but when he hits, it's worth it.
He's hit both of his Eldritch Blast this game.
He sacrificed his 1 spell slot so that he could hit 2 Eldritch Blasts.
I'm just going to stand over here and then pretend I'm having a short rest to get the spell slot back.
Well,
And that's
describe what your
Yareth.
Witch Bolt looks like until the point where it misses the owlbear.
Sorry?
Gives us flavour of the Witch Bolt. What does it look like? It
It,
kind of arcs out, it just doesn't connect to it.
yeah, so it arcs out and it's literally from the end of the orb. And
Yeah.
if anyone.
Orb crackling with power as well.
Yeah, the orb is sort of crackling. It's not crackling on the outside, it's crackling on the inside. And there's almost a reflection in both the glasses that are currently on his hat and also in his eyes of just this, again, orangey.
Kind of in his pupils.
Yeah, just this energy that sort of shoots out from the orb, which is directly lined up with his eyes, and fires towards the owlbear of this orangey, yellowy, but with a little bit of other colors in there as well, some purples and some greens that are very
It's a pride witch.
diluted. But then it just sort of loses it.
Riley,
at
have you
and
got a
shorts off.
pride flag witch bolt? Because that is dope.
I have an unintentional pride flag witch bolt. Yes.
Oh,
Wow.
What societal commentary that it was 1 off the AC?
Oh, wow!
Owlbears do not accept non-binaries.
Not allowed.
This was the dice. We are not affiliated with the Roll20 random generator, so the results on the die on the D20 does not necessarily directly relate to any of Rolling with It or their subsidiary views on.
The views reflected by the Roll20 dice bot.
Yeah. Okay, is that your turn, Yaron?
Yes.
Yeah.
He will look very sad that it didn't hit, but yes, that will be Aaron.
I mean, doesn't it keep going, or does it have to connect the?
No, it has to
Has to
connect.
connect first time to keep going. There's the one drawback to Witchbolt. Phoenix, back to you.
Yeah, he's gonna look up, see this is becoming an increasing shit show, and basically say, "Okay, scrap a cloth, that can wait." Step forward
Apparently
and
the string's
lob
fixed,
another.
by the way.
Lob another produce flame.
Sure. I would definitely hit. You kind of catch it with this flaming bolt.
Getting better.
I mean, you did 1 damage last time, so it's thrice as much, tickle fire damage. Like kind of some of the mats in its fur kind of ignite slightly, but kind of fizzles out before it can properly take hold. It seems kind of singed. Irrationally, I think you could probably smell a bit of smoke, but yeah, it doesn't seem too harm. But you definitely did some damage.
And then he'd call out, "You look pretty engaged, Urashi, but if you can hear me, move up a little."
Urashi,
I mean, for me, Irashi's rage is like
you
a
gain
hyper
2 temp
focus,
HP.
not a
Amazing.
frenzy. Of course,
Right there.
amazing. I love that. So, I mean, I don't 100% know what you mean by move up, but I'll do it anyway.
She puts her hands up in the air like she just doesn't care.
She just sticks her hand up in the air. She just jumps. She's like this. No,
Yeah.
and then she goes for a wacko.
Cool.
What a
Roll to
shot.
wacko. You also have your bardic inspiration. Just
Oh,
you probably didn't need
yeah.
it.
Oh, I forgot I had actual
roll
inspiration.
the magic.
God damn
Oh
it.
yeah,
14.
that's not bad. Chunky damage.
Yeah, it's a massive hunk of damage. You kind of, as it rears up or attempts to with its paw back leg, you kind of catch it in the chest. It kind of shrieks once more in pain. And again, these kind of weird drops of blood. This time you notice both red and black that kind of collapse. One turns into blood and the other into this kind of little crumbly pile of earth. Why have they dealt with this? This is freaky. But you don't take too much stock. You just keep going, and you definitely take a nasty chunk out of this thing. It's definitely looking decidedly hurt now. Delete.
Sick.
How stupid do I want to be?
I mean,
How
Very fleet, obviously.
How yeehaw am I going in this? Because I've already failed twice. But I can't accept that. Fleet's gonna go in and try and punch it again, because learning lessons is for losers.
what if I told you this owlbear had a higher move characteristic than you did?
I'm gonna punch it at advantage and pray that I can just knock it out.
I mean, that's a good hit. You definitely took the insult to heart.
And bonus action, one more time now.
I would definitely hit.
Thank you, advantage.
It had 12 HP.
He's gonna smack the shit out of me, isn't he? Oh, I'm about to get smacked.
Go whack it once in its
I'm for a whack.
its injured leg. It kind of buckles under the pressure, and you kind of go, "Oh, this is a weak spot," and you kind of get back and you kind of elbow it, kind of driving it home, bringing the pain. It kind of rears up, and it seems to be about to try and flail about it in some sort of desperate rage. Althaea, sorry, I keep saying that wrong.
Do I see this sort of? Is it sort of starting to move towards Fleet in terms of its like posture, or does it still seem focused on Arashi?
It's difficult to say at this particular moment in time, because it's immediately after Fleet's turn. So you have to.
It's going to punch
incite
me.
it in some sort of action.
I just sort of going on the back of Fleet is made of sticks and paper at the moment.
Thanks.
Althea's going to.
Sticks and stones may hurt my bones, break my bones, but that's because that's fleet.
She's going to hold out a hand and say, hey, over here. I'm big and scary. And she's going to cast light on her like a bracelet on her wrist to create like this big flash of white light.
Oh, sweetie.
Oh,
And try and
no.
call the Owlbear's attention.
Let's call this. Let's call this animal handling.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah. You kind of light this up and you kind of shake it in the general Owlbear's general direction. You kind of almost wave it directly under its nose, and its eyes kind of glaze as they try and focus on this thing directly upon its face. You seem to have its attention for now. Exactly what that means, you're not entirely sure.
Cool. And then that's me. Oh wait, bonus action. I'm going to say to Yath, that spell didn't work, but I'm sure the next one will. As I inspire him.
Sure. On the Owlbear's turn, it's going to look at the pretty light. Its kind of eyes almost crossed, and they kind of turn into focus, and they seem to focus past the light and look directly at Althaea in the eyes. It almost seems frustrated that it's almost dead.
Reasonably.
And it has managed to
Very
take
frustrating,
one
yes.
of these, purely insignificant things down with it. So it seems to as it locks over you out there, you kind of get the impression it's going to try and kill me just so it's not the first to die. That's the kind of vibe you get from this thing.
All we can really do is hope that it misses. Oh no. Well.
Okay, before I roll this, Althaea has 10 health.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Please roll 1 on one of the d8s for its d6. Sorry, it's 2d6. Yeah, we won't make you make a contact because it's the end of combat, presumably.
You're going flying.
Which is out of your feet, and you kind of, having correctly guessed its intentions, you just about manage to duck underneath it, but then its claw kind of catches you from the side. And yes, indeed, you do go 1, 2, 4. You kind of ping off, and you kind of roll on the floor around you. I won't make you concentration save for heroism because it's probably going to die before its turn again.
Fair play.
Yareth.
Just seeing that happen to Althaea, Yareth will move round to here, stare the owl. Hang on, no, before I do that, which way is the owlbear looking? Which direction is his face?
Was looking at Althaea, and its head is kind of turned satisfactorily after it. We kind of see it looked almost annoyed at the fact that Althaea, while down and really hurting, doesn't seem to have been violently dismembered as of yet.
Will go here, stare it in the face, and just. You should stay down and fire an Eldritch Blast. And I'm just going to say beforehand, we'll use both Inspiration and Bardic Inspiration. I don't care what, but
you don't need to declare.
You might have to use Bardic, but you might not.
You roll it, and then you choose after you roll to re-roll. It's not in the place handbook. You say, I would like to spend my inspiration to get advantage. You roll the die, look at it. I would like to spend inspiration to re-roll. So you don't need to declare anything beforehand.
Okay. I was saying that I would be happy to use them up for flavor, because Yareth's pierced.
You could also use them earlier. Oh well.
Yeah, I realized that literally as Ash was reminded about that she had Bardic Inspiration. She's like, I had Inspiration. God damn it.
Oh well. Not just do
Bardic.
It's a D6, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just what you needed.
I was like, it's a 10, please no, but then with Bardic. So yes, you just about hit as it turns its face towards you. the words
As you
alone
Eldritch bop it on the nose.
elicited some kind of reaction from it.
I love Yareth.
Tell me, Yareth, how does this owlbear die?
Thank God.
How does
I
this
don't care
one
that-
damage?
I don't care that it's only 1 damage. Yareth again plants his staff into the ground, holds it with both hands, and just stares at it through the orb. And just the purple energy goes from the orb, lights up into his eyes. It's hard to tell if it's a reflection or if his eyes do go purple for a moment as well. As then the beam just shoots out from the staff, almost seems to push Yareth back a moment with the force of it, and hits it square between the eyes of the
I
owlbear.
can imagine just kind of anime moment is kind of the angular scene. It kind of goes weird colors. I don't know anime. You kind of see the like beam passing through.
Yeah.
Trying to get
The first time Goku does a Kamehameha, I don't know either.
We don't have time for that.
But as this kind of tiny beam just shot straight between the eyes of the owlbear. It kind of staggers back a moment, kind of roaring, screeching. This raw screech it does thing, kind of flailing about with various appendages in pain. And just when you would imagine it's about to fall over, it instead explodes. Not a violent explosion, it's just kind of a cloud of material. This material you've seen it produce when you hurt it. The earth, the wood, the blood, it kind of explodes. It's mostly earth, but there's a decent amount of wood and there's a small amount of blood kind of in this explosion. It probably hits, a Rashi fleet. It's probably safe because it's small. It kind of, this material kind of explodes out from this thing, and whatever its body was is no longer there. And scene of combat.
For the record, Gareth doesn't care. At the end of combat, we'll just run over to Althaea, try and get her back on her feet, and make sure that she's okay.
Sure.
This entire party is literally just to protect Althaea. It's fantastic.
Did you see that, Yareth? I flew.
You did, chap. Are you okay?
She's sort of. I imagine she's got quite a gnarly cut over her chest at this point, having been swatted away by those claws. She's like, maybe.
Hey, and he'll offer a hand as he says this to, as much as he can in his 3-foot stature, help her up, and we'll just, hey, at least she didn't go unconscious this time.
I would like to point out that 3 party members are on 1 HP.
Hell yeah!
Nice.
These combats, Phoenix has somehow escaped completely unscathed.
And
Because he positions well.
in case Twitch chat missed that as well, I rolled a natural 1 on my death save.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Stabbing intensifies. It's just like, I was just sat there like, cool. So this is how Yareth dies. Not with a bang, but with an owlbear.
No, please don't die, please.
So for my new character, they're a furbolg.
The fleet just goes to pick up her quarterstaff and then hops her way down.
Yeah,
And-
Phoenix kind of awkwardly slides down and then goes and investigates this pile of debris.
Yes, I'd like to help because what the fuck? An owlbear just exploded into materials.
I know. It's
Yeah.
an explosion everywhere, so it's kind of more a coating, I guess, of this area
Like
more than a pile.
picking through this debris or anything interesting. I think I'm specifically. I imagine I've heard of like magical constructs.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
roll
does it-
investigation, please. If someone would like to help in that's more than fine.
I
I
will
will help.
assist. We're assisting Phoenix because he's the smartest one out of all of us.
How rude.
I mean, am I wrong
I can't
though?
believe you
Sure.
tried to kill him.
I mean, I do have a higher intelligence draw, but sure.
So, you kind of pick through this material. You kind of pick up a bits of the earth. You kind of crumble it through your fingers. You kind of pick up one of these shards of wood and kind of inspect it. You go up to this, the top of this little rocky outcrop and pick up the bit of cloth you tried to find before. And you kind of pace for a minute or two, Phoenix, kind of mulling everything over. As you kind of wandering around, you find yourself next to this mysterious pit. And you kind of find yourself walking around the edge of it. You kind of stop here and you kind of look in. Kind of hold up the splinter of wood that you found. And you look at the broken cart and you kind of put it in place. It seems to fit, and you kind of instinctively kind of cast mending, and it grafts itself on.
Someone
Kind of
made...
hold up your bit of cloth and look down at the body in front of you. Kind of hold it down. It's drenched in blood, but you can always swear this bit of cloth kind of came from the loin, tunic of this particular figure. And obviously, you assume the earth kind of fills in this gap in the road. You brought up the point of magical constructs before. You probably don't know a whole lot about them, probably mainly just stories. There might be the occasional reference in your spell book. But you gather there are distinct differences between like golems and this thing. Because obviously golems, as far as you're aware, are typically made of a singular material. Be it, clay, iron, stone.
Do I get the feeling this feels more like a transmutation than a...
Well, you're not entirely sure. We'll come to that. Yeah. This thing, you gather, it's definitely alien to that, though it could be a similar principle. Kind of also the vague references in your book to golems kind of refer to how they take ages to create. Like you need a specific manuscript, and I forget the exact thing on the magic item, but I'm fairly sure it's like months.
It's 1 to 4 months, depending on the golem.
To be able to craft a golem. And from your best guess as to what happened in this there, it almost ovoid, it almost seems instantaneous, as opposed to this growing process. And that kind of worries you, because while you imagine a golem would be much stronger than this thing, the magic required to manifest this is scary. You can't comprehend it, and you can't imagine many learned people from your experience, talking to them, would be able to instantly grasp this either. And again, that's scary.
Would I know if this is something that a god could be capable of?
Religion, we'll call that. The gods can do lots of things. It definitely seem out of their remit power-wise. In terms of things like why, how, you can't make those gaps. You don't think it's beyond their powers, but you can't think of a singular reason why, or of a singular similar instance. You hear of gods like turning stuff into other stuff, like, there's probably stories about how a specific god, like say Owlbear, might have taken raw materials used to make a sword and kind of just craft it into like this magic item, kind of in a couple minutes. Those kind of stories seem similar, but again, you can't fathom why a god would manifest an owlbear out of a random bit of road, cart, and poor soul who got trapped in it.
I think whoever did this had a whole lot of power and not a whole lot of control.
Question. What the fuck? I've been at the QU. I've seen a lot of magic. What the fuck?
I don't know. I've never really encountered anything like this, but our friend over there, or what's left of him, I'm pretty sure if you gave me enough time, I could fill in this hole pretty precisely.
It was produced by that hole, wasn't it?
It was the materials that were in this hole. Yeah, that's our owlbear. I don't know of anything that could do that. Not
Owlbears are typically flesh and blood. I
Yeah,
feel I
what-
should make that point.
What Fleet said. I mean, I've spent a good year or so studying at QU, and none of the professors that I knew there could do anything like this, or if they did, they didn't say.
I think we found our Fenacama, or at least
Everyone search the charts, see if there's anything weird. Sorry, I'm doing a different voice again.
So,
Everyone
hang on.
search the charts, do a different voice then, chat.
Hang on.
Hirashi.
Let me try and piece this together. So, this group
Piece
got
this card back to get take from.
this group got ambushed.
It'll take a while, but we can do it.
This group got ambushed by bandits. Something or someone summoned that owlbear out of thin air and using one of their own guys, and then it just tore into everyone.
I don't think it was necessarily intentional. This seems like the actions of, I don't know, panic. It was sudden. It wasn't very controlled.
It looks like an accident.
Maybe not that. I imagine whatever this Fenacama is, it was trying to defend itself, but maybe it just didn't know what it was doing.
That's a possibility, but
Hirashi, it's not really my forte. Does it look like anyone escaped from here, ran away from here?
I don't know. Does it?
I can help you take a
Survival.
look. I'll grant advantage to that to try and help.
I'll start.
Thank you.
having a look
Have
through the
I
charts.
haven't used my inspiration as well. Is that still up?
Yeah, that's about 10 minutes, so you can use that if you'd like.
Yeah, I will do. What is it? It's D6, isn't it?
D6. Roll a 6. Come on.
Sit, like leaning against a rock.
Yeah, 19.
So, Arashis, you kind of wander this battlefield. You kind of start here. You kind of look at this body that was this poor chap who was presumably just having a fine day when he was consumed by whatever made this owlbear. And you kind of trace as it must have gone to this fellow, knocked him back. Same for this guy. You kind of follow its path, kind of as it went from person to person, and you kind of trace, how it murdered them, where their body was then shunted. You kind of follow it around back where it must have been lurking before Fleet disturbed it, and then you kind of pace back over, what just happened, your own battle with it. As based on both the sheer power of this creature, and you can't find any tracks where something could have gotten away from it, with the exception of someone who maybe was standing back when it occurred and might have been able to quickly hop away. You don't think anyone could survive this, and you don't find any tracks to suggest that kind of theory. So unless they were like floating, you don't think anyone has survived this, except for you guys. Aren't you lucky?
Hooray.
Certainly feel it.
I think we need to
I
give
will share that knowledge.
I think we need to give these carts a pretty thorough search.
Yes.
We're looking for anything that might identify who this group was, because Fenacama ain't much to go on.
Okay, so if we're going to investigate carts, I'll call for another group investigation. However you want to arrange that.
Let's give this one to Yareth. I believe in him.
Yeah.
Take your advantage in investigation. We believe in you.
Yeah. So
If I was to use inspiration and can I use inspiration and end up getting higher than that and take that, or not?
So you look at the dice and say, I'm going to re-roll. Don't get to keep the original.
Okay, so it's just a flat re-roll. It's not.
Yes.
No, I'll keep the
Re-roll to
15.
the highest. Yeah, so as I said before, these 3 carts seem to have been kind of turned over in the turmoil, possibly as the horses reared, or as their horses were murdered. Arashi might be able to tell you exactly, how it went down with her tracking, but as I said, they're kind of carrying various cloths and stuff like curtains, throw like rugs kind of thing, not as opposed to the clothes. And kind of quickly poke around them, and there doesn't seem to be much among the
you're on the thing. Sorry.
rubble and wreckage aside from the obvious trade goods. And so eventually you make your way over to the one cart that seemingly crashed into a rock and somehow didn't overturn. Althea, as you watch Gareth approach this cart, you kind of, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Not quite sure why.
I yell out to be careful, or is there not enough time?
No, this is kind of like you feel it just as Yareth is kind of lifting up one of the cloths to look underneath. So you can kind of, but like anything that's going to happen, you'll cry out would be too late. But you can still cry out if you would like.
I think between the shock of combat and the wound, it's more like she goes to say something and just sort of goes like,
Sure.
and like clutches her side instead.
Fair enough. Gareth, when you kind of lift up this kind of layer of cloth and kind of look to see what's underneath, what you see is something that you very much didn't expect. It is black, kind of furry. It kind of seems to be kind of soft, fairly small. It looks to be kind of ball-like. And then you hear a whimper. And as your eyes kind of adjust to the kind of darkness that's under these layers of cloth, you kind of realize that's not a bundle of fur. This is some sort of tabaxi child.
Aww.
Ah. Hello there, chap.
Good chap.
What's someone like you doing in a place like this?
The whimpers are getting louder and louder as presumably they're getting scarer and scared that you.
Do I hear said whimpers?
I mean, you see Yareth look under the cloth. They're quite faint, so you probably don't hear them from where you currently are.
Yareth, what you got over there?
Ignoring it for now. Hey, don't worry. I'm not going to hurt you, and none of my friends are, okay? Hey, Fleet!
What?
Just you. Come over here. If anyone else comes over here, I'll get very angry.
Since Fleet is close to Althaea, just before Fleet goes, Althaea say, "Be careful. I don't know what it is, but I got a bad vibe," and then go back to sort of clutching her chest.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is everyone obeying the gnome's threat to not get any closer?
Yeah, sure.
Fennec will take the opportunity to go over and check on Althea if he's being specifically requested not to approach.
Help with the wound, start binding up, all that jazz.
All right, Yareth, what have we?
I'll lift up the tarp a bit more just to let Fleet see.
Oh dear.
I'll probably chuckle and just say, we probably need to pick up some bandages or something.
Hey, you. What are you doing here?
Everywhere, thanks.
That's true, actually. He'll have grabbed some cloth off the cart he was next to.
Tear it up, yeah.
I know that in the books, Tabaxi isn't an actual language, but Fleet would just be using what she's learned.
She's just making cat noises at the child.
Sure.
What everyone doesn't know is common is actually the Tabaxi language. Everyone else just nicked it.
You just look at Fleet, go, come on now, and just loudly just right into this cart. Yeah. No, but as you can't start kind of mewling, I guess, comfortingly towards this child, you kind of see a face will kind of briefly turn and look up at you, and you kind of hear, "Mom," as he kind of looks at you and instantly recognizes you, clearly not whoever they thought you were.
I'm assuming among the bodies we haven't seen.
Go back into bundle.
I'm assuming among the bodies we have not seen a Tabaxi.
No, these all seem to be variations on human.
It's all right, youngin. I don't know where your mom is, but she's part of my family, so you're part of mine.
Fenitama.
You're my family?
They all are. Isn't that what the goddess taught us? Everyone's family.
I don't know about no goddess. Mama said that we have more family elsewhere. You sure you knew my mama?
I may not have known her, but she's family to me. Everyone is.
Like, she looks kind of confused at your statement. Because
It'll-
it seems to be conflicting. But
It'll be a long story, but don't worry.
she seems somewhat comforted for now. She kind of wriggle around to try and face you, but she's decidedly still cowering away from you.
Yeah, do you mind taking a step back? I think I can probably handle this. What's your name, youngin?
Hope? Hope for better days to come.
Hope for better days to come. My name is Fleet of Foot. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, I'll just put that in chat so everyone can look at it. It's mighty fun to meet you. She clearly doesn't recognize your hand forward gesture.
Yeah. You did a very good job staying hidden and staying quiet here. We're very glad you're safe. Do you know... Did you hear anything?
I heard noises and shouts and yells, and there's this rah, and she kind of mimics a roar. I don't know what that was. I just stayed where I was because they'd be angry if I didn't.
That's very good. You stayed safe. Good job. We haven't seen your mama here. Can you describe her to us?
Well, she looks kind of like me, you know. She kind of gestured at her black fur, but she don't have this. And she kind of pulls down kind of her jerkin kind of thing a little bit, and you kind of see kind of a spot of white kind of directly over where a heart would be in a tabaxi. I don't atomically know where that might be.
Probably close enough
it's
to
on
a
the
human.
left, like a human. Yeah, I'm just going to tune that. Right.
Well, that's certainly something.
Potentially morbid question. Was there any black fur in the debris from the owlbear?
No.
Okay.
That's a good question to ask, though, Jesus. Well, do you know where you were headed?
She kind of just shakes her head. They didn't
Does
really
she know
tell me very much about anything. I don't think they really liked me or Mama.
Oh,
Does she know where she came from?
do you know where you were last before this cart train?
I was with Mama.
Did she tell you where? Anything you would recognize?
No, she said it was home, or as close to home as we would ever know. We didn't really go anywhere that wasn't there. We never left until, a couple weeks ago when they took me.
They? Who's they?
He kind of just, the people, and she kind of just gestures around. You gather she probably means the Wagoneers. Or perhaps not Wagoneers. You haven't quite ascertained who or what they were.
Did they take you on purpose, or did you join them?
I didn't want to go. I wanted to be with Mama.
Did your mom want to go?
They wouldn't take Mama.
Oh.
I'm assuming I've heard most of this, even from being
Yeah,
a step back.
you can probably
You're
hear it.
5 feet away. You can hear it.
You probably don't understand most of it because it's probably some amalgamation of Tabaxi and Common.
Yeah,
So you probably get the gist, if not,
yeah,
necessarily
that's
all
what
the
I'm gonna
words.
go with. Yareth will go over and sort of, I would say tap on the shoulder, but probably just tap on the back of the knee of Fleet.
Yeah.
That short.
Oh yeah, 3 foot is not
Yeah,
tiny.
you could do
Yeah,
like swallow the back. At the
oh,
very
yeah,
least.
swallow the back or like elbow.
Yeah.
For some reason, I had like waist.
What's up, Yareth?
The hat, you at least
Look.
shoulder height.
Look, she's sorry, I'm assuming she the child. The rest of them I don't need to know because we don't need to take them with us. So shall I just break the news that there's a Tabaxi child while you talk to her a bit more?
Yeah, you let him know. I will
Cool.
keep Hope company.
Gareth will move over and sort of call the 3 in with hand gestures.
Althaea will lean on Phoenix for
Actually, yeah.
distance walking.
So, chaps, so there's the car. There was a child. Don't, no one do anything. Don't run over there. Whatever you do, do not run over there, or I'll be very angry.
I assure you that was the last thing on my mind.
Good. It is a Tabaxi, so Fleet, obviously, best person right now. Or closest, I guess. Not necessarily best. The best would be a Tabaxi. From what I
So-
gathered.
Althaea, as he said the words child, and then Tabaxi, kind of the hairs on the back of your neck that were already up kind of vibrate, and you kind of feel the hairs along your arms all kind of stand up as well. And despite the fact that Yara said not to go over there, you'll feel compelled to go look this child in the face.
Thanks. You've not listened to Yareth in the past. Could you take me to see the child, please?
I'm sorry?
Fennec looks physically uncomfortable with the idea of dealing with children, but nods and helps her walk over.
Hey, Phoenix, you're our roundabout bad boy, apparently.
Hope, is it okay if some of my friends come and see you?
He will kind of he'll stop actually there and he'll kind of lead Althaea forward.
Hearing Gareth sort of like confused mutterings, she'll turn around, and I think there'll be this. Given the description you can read, there might almost be like a determination in Althea's eyes that Yareth won't have seen before, and she'll just say, "I need to see them."
Yeah, as you're getting closer and closer, your hairs like they're on end, but if possible, they're getting more on end.
I was going to say, is it possible that that's sort of
almost kind of writhing through you, and kind of
Althea's just slowly turning into a bandit generator.
Parts of you that just keep putting one foot after the other as you are drawn close and goes to this car.
Yeah,
I was going to say, is it possible that perhaps even some of that sort of like Asimar light in her hair is starting to sort of glow?
Oh yes, definitely. Kind of the tips of her hair just start to ever so faintly just glimmer slightly in the sunlight.
Yareth will point the staff, the base end at her, and just now look, chap. Oh,
she's a chapette. Come on.
Everyone's a chap.
And then he'll just bring the staff down, pat the orb a couple of times, and just be thinking, just that's new. Okay, not gonna mess with that.
I shall hobble my way over to Fleet.
Sure. You kind of let go of Phoenix's arm as you kind of take these steps. As you get closer and closer, this feeling intensifies. The kind of glimmers in your hair start to get brighter and brighter. The Fleet, you kind of look at her. You almost swear you see a flash of gold in Althea's eyes. And then you step up next to the cart. And you look this child in the face. and it all goes. Your hair, the head and back immediately lie flat. Your hair goes dull. This energy seems to have gone. You've met other ASMR occasionally in your time traveling about. You probably sought out a couple, just to make sure you were living up somewhat to your ancestry. And every time you met them, you almost feel something, much like humans can instantly pick out an ASMR. Obviously, ASMR can pick out each other as well. But
Yeah.
kind of, you felt a reflection of the kind of divine spark, the kind of holy light of Aesme within them. This is similar, yet incredibly alien. You kind of feel the something in the child, but it's not this divine spark, it's not this holy light. It seems almost fluid. Can't pinpoint much beyond that. You can tell it's a similar sort of thing, but it's completely alien to you.
I think she probably just sort of looks at the child and says, "What are you?"
Well, Althea, that's a bit rude. She's tabaxi.
Fleet, as soon as kind of you noticed Althea approach, the tabaxi child has stopped looking at you, is now looking at Althea. Hope, she says in response to Althea's question. Hope for better days to come. It's a pleasure to meet you, miss. You're very beautiful. Those eyes of yours, they're like Mama had this. She had this gold coin. It's like one of them. It's beautiful.
Just as a question, if I'll say actually, because I know how other creatures see me, so I'll turn to Fleet and sort of again with this determination, be like, Fleet, what color are my eyes right now? And if they're
question.
not currently like, I was gonna say if Fleet can't see them as like my ASMR eyes.
I forget what we said the non-ASMR color was. It's whatever that was.
I believe it was sort of a. I believe it was a hazily color, but I always go with that. Yeah.
It looks her eyes look decidedly hazily and not like a gold coin in any way.
They're hazel. What? What?
Okay. This is really confusing.
Agreed.
You talked about your mother. Did you have a father?
As you kind of ask this question, you kind of feel something of a connection between you and this child as they open their mouth to reply. It's not open. It's almost like a door is unlocked, but you need to open it. Do you choose to open?
I think so.
Okay. You kind of allow this connection to take place. While the tabaxi child speaks, you kind of hear the words, but the words for you are kind of perceived in a different way. You don't hear them as noise. You kind of see them, your mind's eye, as an array of images and scenes. The very first one is of a tabaxi woman, kind of pure black fur, kind of dressed in not too nice clothing. And they seem to be cradling what can only be described as a tabaxi kitten. It doesn't look more than a few days or weeks old. Much like the adult, it is pure black. However, kind of right over the heart, there is a spot of white. As kind of the vision pans back from this scene, you kind of see that this couple is in this kind of very sparse room. It's literally just got a bed, bucket, and a plate of food. As it kind of, your viewpoint pans back a bit, you can see these kind of metal rods that seem to extend from floor to ceiling. You eventually realise this pair is jailed somehow. It's contained in some sort of cell. And kind of looking her child in the face, the tabaxi woman will say, "I name you Hope." She kind of looks up and out of the cell. Hope for better days to come. And the vision will kind of shift to presumably several years later. The child is no longer kitten baby. It's more toddler, like 2 or 3 years old. They seem to be kind of boisterously ambling about the cell, kind of, as children tend to do, kind of making whatever game they can possibly think of. However, the mother seems to be trying to quieten it, kind of stymie the toddler's energy, hush it. You can kind of hear the voices and stamping of feet down a nearby staircase. The mother seems scared of whoever seems to be coming down. The vision will shift again to a child who is approximately as old as the one before you. It is kind of quietly sitting on the bed next to the mother, who is brushing its hair. 2 figures seem to kind of be standing in front of the cell. However, you can't really make out their faces. They're kind of blurry and foggy. They seem to be muttering quietly to each other before one brings out a key and will unlock the door to this cell. Looking incredibly confused, the mother will kind of look towards the man who enters with a certain level of fear, but also a certain level of hostility. There's certainly some sort of spirit to her. She definitely hasn't been completely broken. Excuse me. Yeah. This man will kind of reach down to take Hope by the arm. He'll kind of try and pull her away. And as Hope looks up, his face comes into clear focus. You recognize it as this particular gentleman, his body is here, but his head is somewhat over here. And as he tries to pull Hope away from her mother will kind of pull back. They kind of have this tug-of-war affair over the child. Eventually, the man will kind of overcome her, and he'll kind of wrestle Hope away, and he'll take her out of the cell, kind of pick her up, and as Hope kind of screams for her mother, she'll be taken up the stairs. She also sees the second man kind of draw a knife, and they seem to enter the cell behind. The vision will shift once again. It is now Hope kind of in the cart. She is tired. She is hungry. She's clearly been trapped under here for days, weeks. There's very few life signs left. She seems to be barely clinging on. You can hear the sounds of violence, of men shouting. And as this innocent mind is seemingly exposed to violence for the first time, she is incredibly scared. However, the sound of rasping steel and weapons being drawn kind of brings her mind back to the moment when the second man drew a dagger and entered the cell behind her mother's cell after she had left. You can feel this mind kind of new to the concept of violence, potentially putting 2 and 2 together in its head. And there's this deep sense of loss, but also this incredibly strong, burning anger. And as this anger burns and builds within this child. You can hear the kind of screeching roar of the owlbear and the blood-curdling scream that originally kind of alerted you to the massacre ahead. The second man who drew the dagger is now over here. He is the man who is torn in half. And as the kind of vision fades, the door is closed and you hear the clicking of a lock. Althea, kind of as you blink for a moment, confused by what just happened, you look down the road ahead of you. You see far further than your eyes have ever seen before, far further than any you would naturally ever see in a much higher detail. There is a brown-robed and hooded figure. He's kind of standing at the boughs of a nearby tree line. You sense that you're looking in the eyes and you can't make them out. They are somehow seeing you over this extended distance. And as you make eye contact, this figure will turn and will disappear into the forest. As I say, the rest of you heard this in words, if not in the same vision. I believe Fleet decided to gather the child up, take them away from the violence without letting them see it.
As much as possible, yeah.
As much as possible.